at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick and tired with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick and tired with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Good evening. Welcome. I'm Sovereign Soul, and you're not. How's everybody doing out there tonight? I see you got Christos is in here tonight. The Lions never sleep. Good to see you, my friend. So, if you haven't got the memo, we are fully out of UFO season and balloon season, and right in the middle, full swing into train derailment season. I hope all of you have got your train derailment decorations up and appropriate cards out. Who knows what next month may bring? I think it looks like we're heading into a catastrophic storm season. So that might be combined with train derailments or just be a whole new thing of its own. Funny, we haven't heard any more on the UFO invasion front. That kind of dwindled out. Now we're into bigger and better things. For those of you that watch the mainstream media and believe the propaganda ministries' perverted versions of whatever they're trying to present to you at any given time, whether it's a catastrophic terrorist attack in New York City or a massive execution of people on a campus somewhere, whatever it is, they're always there with your next, latest, and greatest catastrophe to keep you immersed into a field of fear. Isn't it fun? Isn't it fun? So now nobody's going to be traveling by rail, I guess. Amtrak's probably going to lose a lot of business. I don't think we've seen the last of this. We got Lulu's in here tonight. Push button 62. Good to see everybody. So in case you don't know, there was another train derailment today near Barstow in California. Luckily, this time, no toxic waste. I think there was a fuel car, and hazmat teams have dealt with that. But it was quite a pileup. I think it was, let me see what I can pull back up about this. Let me see here. This was sent to me. Let me share my screen. There it is. Okay, so on this thing here said that currently numerous law enforcement, of course, it's probably changed a little bit. The situation, this was a few hours ago. It said hazmat teams and other agencies are responding to a runaway train carrying 180 train cars headed 80 miles per hour with no one on it as the crew had to jump off. It sounds like that song. And the train, it won't stop going. No, it could slow down. It was first reported in Baker, headed towards Barstow, California, but the train has crashed and derailed in Kelso, California. Police are confirming multiple train cars have been derailed and damaged. So this one, at least, no catastrophic chemical spill, but that's all right. They're going to keep trying. A school shooting. What, Rebecca Joe? Another school shooting. Where is this at? There's so much happening so quickly. Let's get a look-see and see what we can find out about that. Let's see, I don't need that right now. So where was this at? Oh, it might be school shooting season. School shooting today. Nashville? Was it Nashville? Let's see. Nashville school shooting updates. 3 kids and 3 staffs killed. Why are people wanting to shoot the schools, man? What's going on? I mean, I didn't like school. I hated the fucking place. I prayed for the place to burn down every goddamn day, but I was sure as hell wasn't going to go in there and do something. Private Christian school. Oh my. Well, let's see what it says about this. They're showing me some kind of a cool ad. Let's see what we can bring this up. Nope, that's still Facebook. Let me remove that. Stop screen. Whoops. That's invite. We don't want to invite right now. We're going to present, share screen. I'm going to go to here, there, everywhere. And I'll see if I can zoom this up a little bit for you at home so you can see a little better. Let's see. Doom. There, that's about all. Here's some video on it. Let's see. Let's back this up just a little bit and see if I can unmute it. Why are we not? There we go.
Dead after a shooting at Covenant School, a private Christian school in Nashville. The Metro Nashville Police Department tweeted that officers engaged the shooter and that the shooter is now dead. Vanderbilt University Medical Center says the 3 victims suffered gunshot wounds and were pronounced dead after arrival. The age of the victims is still not clear, but according to the school's website, it serves students from pre-K through 6th grade. The FBI and ATF are now assisting the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department. I want to bring in former FBI agent and ABC News contributor Brad Garrett, as well as former chief of detectives for the NYPD and ABC News contributor Robert Boyce for more on this. Robert, I want to start with.
Look, I'm sorry. This is one of the things I got a problem with this bullshit is elementary schools. Who in the fuck is thinking I'm going to go and shoot up an elementary school, and why? I mean, that to me just doesn't make any sense. I cannot put it in my head that there's anybody actually like this out there. This is why I got to say this is so fucking. We got some other people. Let's see. Just Dame came in. I got Jeebus Crisp. Welcome. Push button 62. K through 6, 3 9-year-olds and 3 60-year-olds. Well, 3. Oh, huh. Is there a message in those numbers? I wonder. Huh. Anyway,
with you, your experience as an officer, what's your reaction to hearing a situation like this? Young children now pronounced dead after a shooter at this school that serves pre-K through 6th graders.
Yeah, Diane, it's just a terrible thing. These things never leave you if you're a police officer or if you're a parent. Those things haunt you the rest of your life. So these are echoes of Sandy Hook here. It looks like the protocols are working very well here across the nation in law enforcement, but we're not stopping this from happening, and that's the real tragedy.
When it says echoes of Sandy Hook to a person like me means something different than it does to the Matrix people. Believe me.
Here, it's unusual. You have a Christian parochial school that's happening to. That part is unusual. Detectives will now figure out the motives, go social media, do all these things that we normally do. But
and that's another thing too. It says Bryce Beer says that the shooter is a trans. Okay, listen. In my entire life of 57 years, and I've been all over the place. I grew up outside of Detroit. I've been to Europe. I've been all over the place. I've lived in California. Where in the hell are all these trans coming from, man? I've never seen this in real life. They're really pushing this trans shit hard, man. I don't know. I never knew this to be like this, something fucking weird, man. That's all I can say about it. Something.
Our protocols
weird.
are working, but it's still happening. That's the issue.
Bob, in an investigation like this, what's the first question these officers will be trying to answer?
Determine who the shooter is and what the motive was. That means ID him or her, go back to the house, go what's going on in their lives, do the social media profile, all these things, and then find out where the gun came from and how they got that gun. So these things that everybody knows this, they're often running to do that. But the big question is why, and will always be why.
Brad, ATF and the FBI are now responding. They're assisting the Metropolitan Police Department there in Nashville with this. What does that tell you about the gravity of this investigation, and how will they help?
So let's start with a matter of routine. The ATF and FBI tend to respond to all mass shootings now. It's common protocol. They work together. They plan these things together. ATF will immediately, as Bob mentioned, go to work on whatever weapons were used, where do they come from, how did they get them, so forth and so on. The FBI may be able to help quickly if there's any sort of delicate forensic thing to do or an interview to be done outside the Nashville metropolitan area. But this is interesting, again, to one of Bob's points, is that this is a Christian school. I was with the FBI in Nashville for a number of years. I know where this school is. And I guess I'll be somewhat surprised if the shooter's not connected to the school some way. I assume he's a little older. These are all younger kids, but we'll see how that plays out. But the FBI may also be able to help them with that.
And Robert, it feels all too often that we have to talk about stories like this. What do you make of the frequency with which this is happening, not only in public places, but now in a school, once again, a school full of young children?
Diane, is picking up. It's not slowing down. It keeps getting worse. They know they're going to be confronted at some point by police officers armed and ready to terminate this act, but they're still doing it. So the motive is overdriving common sense. We'll see if there's mental illness involved in here. But what was the motive? Was it this anti-religion? We don't know right now. It will be interesting to see exactly what this was. And if anybody knew this was going to happen, that's why I always look to these things. Did anybody have a clue as to what's going on in this person's life? Because we see it all the time. So it's picking up and it's not going away, despite the best efforts of law enforcement.
And again, we are following this developing story. What we know right now is 3 students have been pronounced dead at a private Christian school in Nashville after a shooting there. Police say they engaged the shooter, and that shooter is now dead. That school serves grades from pre-K through 6th grade. We will continue to update you on this story throughout the day, and we will have continuing coverage on ABC News Live. I'm Diane Macedo. Have a good rest of the day.
This has been a special report from ABC.
So it says the children were identified as Nashville police. Let's see. So Audrey Hale was 28 years old. And what did we hear on here? Somebody just said something that the shooter used to, hello, Roseanne Massman. The shooter used to attend the school as a child. But if it's Audrey Hale, 28, how long has it been since they were in that school? So I don't see that as much, unless you really must have hated that school or something. Children were identified as Evelyn Dykehouse, Haley Scruggs, and William Kinney, all 9 years old. The slain adults were identified as Cynthia Peak, 61, Mike Hill, 61, and Catherine Kuntz, 60, who was the head of the school, according to police. Peak was a substitute teacher and Hill was a custodian. The suspect was shot and killed by authorities in a lobby area on the 2nd floor of the school, roughly 14 minutes after the 911 call was placed. According to police, Nashville Police Chief John Drake said the suspect was female and identified as transgender, but didn't immediately provide more details. See, this is confusing as shit to me. I don't know what that even means, what they just said. Is this like a dude that wanted to be a chick, or is this a chick that wanted to be a dude? I think it was a chick that wanted to be a dude. I don't know. I can't keep fucking track. I'm not going to play make-believe with these people. I'm sorry. Drake also said authorities believe the suspect was a former student. Okay, here's some interesting photographs. Entered through this door here. Okay. Shot the glass out. Why would he have to shoot the fucking glass out? Come on. This is starting to stink already.
ABC News.
Yeah, this is starting to stink already. I'm sorry. It's starting to stink already. But yeah, I'm not the only one. Push button 62 says not a chance. Fake as fuck. Female that wants to be a boy. Yeah, that's what I think it was too. I don't know why. Why is anybody wanting to be something that they're? I don't get it. I don't get it. Better get your pronouns in order, pal. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're gonna keep fucking around till their pronouns were was and were. I ain't relearning a bunch of that shit. Some of that stuff they got doesn't even make any damn sense. Is anybody? They've lost sight of what a pronoun actually is. It's not a description of oneself. That's ridiculous, you know? Wow. Schools are locked nowadays. Oh, yeah, I guess so. Well, didn't seem to do a whole lot of good, did it? You know what would stop something like that was if one of those teachers or all of them were armed and trained to use a firearm. That would have stopped it real quick. And then that guy, that girl or whatever the pronouns would be was or were. But neither way, like the dude said it, I don't think this is real. Saw the 33 coding right away. Yeah, that was interesting that they were 3 60-year-olds, right? And 3 9-year-olds. There's your 3 and 3 right there. And all of those are those ages are even derivative by 3. There's that magic 3 again. The 9-year-olds, 3 times 9 is 27. 2 and 7 is 9. There's your magic 9 working in with the 3s. And then you got your 60s, 3 60-year-olds, 60. Come on. It's they're mocking you. Surgeon never gives 3 options. No, well, yeah, there's life, death, and half-assed, I guess you could give it. So yeah, push button says fake. I don't think what time did it happen? That's a good idea. That's a good thing. Let's see. They're not really giving a Covenant school shooting. Let's see. I don't know. It's okay. Police said 5 officers prompting response to a 911 call after call that arrived at 10:13. And that other thing said that they arrived within, what did it say, 10 minutes? So probably about 10 a.m. Right? Because that other article said that they showed up like 11 minutes after. Let's take a look real quick. Let me look real quick. Hold on here. 14 minutes after the 911 call was placed. So it was rather rapidly, I would say. If they killed the guy 14 minutes after the 911 call, that would have put it. It was shortly just before 10 o'clock. So I don't think there's anything in the time unless we get an exact timestamp. So if anybody wants to find that, that'd be great. It's about 10:30 a.m. Yeah, I'll see. I don't know, man. I don't know. Of course, the new zombies use the term assault rifle. Well, that's a stupid term. Okay. Assault rifle. Okay. Let's take a look at how can you put intent on an object? That's stupid. Furthermore, if I were to be accosted by someone or a group of someone's that were using assault rifles, what would be the appropriate defense rifle? And immediately I realized that it's the exact same rifle. So how can you place intent on an object? If I take a rolling pin and I bash your skull in with it, is it now an assault rolling pin? Assault bakery good? Bakery ware? What are we doing with this? See, this is all just to fuck with your head. It's all just to fuck with your head. They don't like that question too. So what's an appropriate defense weapon? You know, they don't like that question because it points to the same thing. You got to have equal or superior firepower. That's just how the shit works. So dumb, but that's how people are. And if you listen to a song enough times, repetitively, you're going to start humming that fucking song. And that's exactly how this shit works. They keep using a word over and over and over and over with imagery and emotion. And soon you start to associate that buzzword with those imageries and those emotions. That's how that shit works, man. How do you think they train dogs? You do the same thing over and over while repeating the same command. Pretty soon the animal gets the idea when that command is said, that's what I do. We're not any different. We're not any different. We just, there it is. Renee says it. Repetition is the key to mind control. It's also what makes a hit song. I've heard some stupid shit songs and they're, oh, this is a #1 song for 15 weeks. Well, that's because you played it every 3 songs over and over and over for that many weeks. What the fuck are you talking about? And the reason people start humming it and listening to it because they're used to it. They start resonating with it, man. Oh, cool. There's that song. And then later on in your life, you go and you hear that song and you hated it when you first heard it. But now you go, oh, yeah, it takes me back to such and such a time. You know, wow. I am Johnny fucking Hurley and you are too. Okay. Is now considered a mind-bending man. I'm a mind-bending man. Okay. Well. Only one that can bend a person's mind is themselves. If they allow someone else to bend their mind, and I've seen that happen recently with several people, then that just means you don't have command of your own faculties, of your own mind. You're still lost. This pistol brace being banned will make 10 million people felons. Yeah, look, man. The ATF and that shit, they don't get to make laws. That's not how laws work. Okay. You remember that thing that we all watched? I'm just a bill, right? That's how laws are made. Okay. Maybe somebody didn't teach them that, but you don't get to just arbitrarily make up fucking rules and laws. That's not how that shit works. That's called a dictatorship or an oligarch. So that's not, it means nothing. Okay. Secondly, executive orders. The president of the United States is just that. Not God, not a dictator. You don't just get to write some shit down on a piece of paper without anybody voting on it. Nobody associates, nothing. Just, oh, I hereby declare this. No, that's not what we are. So the only way that any of that bullshit can become valid is if people put up with it. But Sav, what if they come to my house? Well, you know what to do. That's all I got to say. That fucking shit's a joke. That shit's a joke. They ain't nobody. They're employed by the George Soros fucking UN Council on Foreign Relations bullshit that their whole job has been to confiscate your shit and disarm you since its inception. So it comes right down to it. Sometimes the tree of liberty needs to be watered and that motherfucker's thirsty. You know what I'm saying? Non-aggression. Be a porcupine. Porcupines don't bother nothing. They just go around through the woods and they do porcupine stuff. They don't fucking hurt nobody, right? But if you screw with one, oh man, you're probably going to wish you hadn't. I can guarantee you that. So it all comes right down to it. Do you believe in what you stand for? Or are you going to fold like a napkin? It's that simple. I'll tell you one thing, I'll die on my feet before I get on my fucking knees for any goddamn buddy. Or before I ask another motherfucking man for permission to do something. That's got to be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life. Yes, authority is a myth. That's why I like it. Renee, I've got this shirt that says, I'm not questioning your authority. I deny its existence. The fuck gives somebody else authority over me? Where'd that come from? Nobody asked me about it. So what it comes down to? Force, violence. That's the only thing that can possibly justify their authority, other than somebody capitulating and agreeing with it. Because it's all contracts. It's all contracts. I don't agree to contract, you know? You tell me you're the king of this or you're the fucking leader of that. I don't give a shit what you call yourself. I don't see it. I didn't sign on with it. So therefore, it's nothing to me. I don't know how many people want to keep playing this damn game. I mean, think about that. At some point in time, some motherfucker stood up there and says, you know what? I'm the king of everybody and I get to make the rules. And everybody else said, yeah, he is. We're going to do this. Really? You don't realize that motherfucker shit stink just like the rest of y'all? Really? Come on, man. Words of our great leader. Come on, man. Stupid ass. Jesus. And there again, people think, see, this whole game, they're getting played again. Oh, this country's in a hell of a shape. Boy, if we only had Trump. Really? And you stupid sons of bitches are going to go right down to those same crooked ass fucking voting machines and do it again. Kick the football, Charlie Brown, by Charles M. Schultz, not Schultz. Kick the football, Charlie Brown. I won't pull it out from in front of you this time, motherfuckers. Jesus. I heard people try and tell me, yeah, but did you see what Kerry Lake's making some progress? Dude, they've been bitching about these voting machines and illegal ballots and everything for 3 fucking years now. Have they done anything about it? Nope. Well, here we go right into another goddamn election cycle. All the slaves are going to line up and do it again. That makes as much goddamn sense as you go to a crooked ass casino. They steal all your fucking money. It's obvious that they're cheating. And so you go get a pile more money. You're going to go back in there and win back your money. You got to be shitting me, man. Are people really that goddamn stupid? Are they really that goddamn stupid? It appears so. Because everybody's going to go line right up to the suggestion box for the slaves. They're going to do it. They're going to do it, and they'll walk out there with their I voted. Look at me. I'm a good fucking slave. I chose the lesser of 2 evils, which is still goddamn evil. Don't you people realize that when you get to that level of politics, to be a president or a senator or any of that bullshit, you've already committed yourself to such a level of scumbaggery just to get to that level that it's irreversible. That's why you're never going to see anybody decent in office. You're never going to see anybody that's actually for you. That's not what that shit's about, man. It might have started out that way at one time. I don't know. That's what I'm told. But I've looked at it my whole life the way it is. And it ain't been nothing but a crumbling piece of shit. And it's getting worse and worse by the year. I never thought I'd see a world like I see right now. And I thought it was fucking bad back then. I couldn't believe we had a buffoon like Gerald Ford for a fucking president. Oh my God. Jimmy Carter, are you shitting me? Really? Oh my God. That was compared to where we're at now. Oh my God. Oh my God. And that's what they do to y'all. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Off a fucking cliff. Boom. And everybody just following the dumb motherfucker in front of them. Everybody just wanting to go with the flow. Go with the flow. You know what goes with the flow? Dead fish go with the flow. You dig? Dead fish go with the flow. I have a link pinned at the top of the chat. Anyone is welcome to come up and we can talk about some of this stuff. We're going to keep it to topical things. If that's not a problem, we can talk about whatever you want. You want to talk about the flat earth? You want to talk about the fact that it's impossible for water to curve around a ball and adhere itself to it, especially while spinning and whirling at phenomenal speeds that are incomprehensible to you? Or the fact that it's impossible to have a gas pressure system inside of a vacuum without containment? Or if you just want to talk about what's the hell going on with all the trains that crashing. Or the Chinese spy balloon. Can't forget about the spy balloon. That's a rough one. We got to keep that in our minds. Roseanne says, I'll be back in a second. I'm on his second e-begging live tonight. Oh, who are you talking about? Are you talking about, what the fuck's his name? Chili? Is he e-begging again? Good for him. Good for him. He deserves something. I think a good amount of my audience is unaware of. I think it's about 50-50 of the people in my audience that are aware of DeCastro and those that are not. Yeah, we were just talking about the school shooting, Michelle. What do you think about it? What do you think about it? Tell us what you think about it. Myself and a few other people think it's probably bullshit. Just even with the numbers of the victims involved. You got 3 9-year-olds, 3 60-year-olds. Are we seeing some weird shit here? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. Between the husband of Dr. Jill Biden and the VP with her wonderful ability to repeat words over and over and over and over. Yeah, no shit. Well, here's somebody who was on the other night and they said something about, it was on Ian's stream. And he was talking about that, about the president. And he seems to be pretty suspect because he's always sniffing these kids and shit. And I'm like, dude, you don't even know the half about Joe Biden, man. I've been looking at that motherfucker for years. You people have to understand. Joe Biden was married before and his wife was deathly ill, dying, cancer, right? And pretty much on her deathbed. And Jill was their babysitter. Yep. So she was a teenager. There's pictures of her sitting on his lap and all kinds of stuff. So he's not new to this. This is old news. Everybody in Washington, D.C. knows what a fucking pervert Joe Biden is. Everybody. This is common knowledge, man. So him sniffing kids, that ain't nothing new. That ain't nothing new at all. And all of them motherfuckers are in it, man. There's a growing uproar in West Virginia. Cockroaches is deaf racist as what? The fuck are you talking about, Illumitami? Jesus Christ. See, Bryce Beer says, just curious, do you remember the Nancy Sinatra song with boots in the title? Was it these boots were made for walking or these boots are made for walking? These boots are made for walking, and the dress was definitely white. But now the dress is black. Huh? I watch. We're gonna spark up Brian here. He's gonna he was talking about this earlier. I say, yeah, we're made. These boots are made for walking. I don't know. Is it? Wait, let me think. These boots were made. Yeah, I think it was. These boots were made for walking. I have to listen to it in my head because that was a popular song when I was little. Biden called back his cockroaches. I don't know what that means. You should see the emails. What? Oh, the black kids cockroaches. I remember that. The black kids. Right. Yeah, listen, as he slips, more and more shit comes out of how he really is. He said he didn't want his kids growing up in a jungle. And that's why he pushed that crime legislation that had people getting locked up for life for having crack and shit. White kids is the same as poor kids. I know. I've heard him say that too. Let's see, where was it? Somebody said something. I can't find it now. Yeah, sick fuck. I agree. Yeah, listen, I'll tell you what. I live about 90 minutes away from DC. And, if I ever saw a bright white flash to the northeast of me, I'd know what that was. But there's something weird about when I get up there to DC, the vibe is just so strong, bad, that I can't wait to get the fuck out of there. I mean, I'm looking for when I got to get out of there as soon as I get there. I mean, I hate it. I hate it with a passion. And it feels terrible. It just feels terrible there. I don't feel good at all. Skirts in that Britney Spears video are black now too. Yeah, there's something about that. These things turning black. And also painted black by the Rolling Stones has changed. And now, speaking of black, the Jackson 5 had 6 people. What the fuck? See, this is weird. Because there's another anchor for me. When I was little, of course, they were really making a lot of stuff with the civil rights and everything. And I thought that there had been a law passed, that there must be, because they had the Osmond brothers, and then there was the Jackson 5. And I thought there was a law that if you had something that was white, you had to have something that was black too. And this is why I associated that. They had Soul Train for black people and American Bandstand for white people. We had the Jeffersons for black people. We had All in the Family for white people. I mean, that's the way that I thought it was. That's what I thought. And so I remember there was 5 Osmonds and 5 Jacksons, and that's why I thought, oh, this has got to be a rule, but it wasn't, of course. But now I guess there were 6 members. What the fuck is the Jackson 5? Back when Michael was black. No, you don't know. Really? Are you serious, Jared Jackwire? A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. No, it's probably going to be something different. That too. Jared, don't go there. Yeah, I know it's the Jackson 5, but there were 6. I think Brian showed some stuff about that too, where they've actually, here's a fan book with the 6 autographs, but in the picture there's only 5 people. I mean, listen, this shit is hard for me to even keep up with all this crap, man. It's just like everything I thought I knew, I have to question everything now. This is I'm back, Sovereign on Chain Man. I was talking about Auditors of America, Jeremy and Samantha Payne, that are going back to jail tomorrow. Chili helped them before. Oh, yeah. Well, brought that shit on yourself if you was going to have Chili go help you. Sorry. I wouldn't let him help me change a tire. That's all. Yeah. Isn't there a new member of the Village People as well, like a military dude? I don't know. All right, because there's something I can remember. There was what? There was a construction guy, there was a cop, and there was an Indian. And it seems to me there was a let's see, a cowboy, an Indian, a fireman. Wasn't it a fireman? And a construction guy. Am I correct? Is that right? Yeah, except the Indian. Yeah, all right. So let's look them up. Let's see what we got. Village People. American Disco Group. Let's see here. All right, here's a picture of them. Let me just do images. Wouldn't it be so much easier if I just did that? Of course it would, David. Jesus. All right, wait a second. Here we got somebody. Wait a second. Yeah, there's a Navy guy now. Hold up. The only association of the Navy that I remember those guys having, you know what? I'm going to do it this way. You see? So there's your construction guy. I don't remember this on him being a lineman, but maybe he was. Cowboy, the cop, no, wait, what? Village People Gold. Okay, wait a second. Let's pull up another. That can't be right. Wait a second here. What, there's getting to be even more of them now. What the hell? Wait a second, man. So now my wife's going to trip out about this one. Let's see. I want images of them. Village People Band. Okay. Now, here's one. What? Yeah, now there's a guy in military garb. Let's pull this up. So now we got. This does not make sense because, okay, so I remember the cop, the construction guy. Trying to tell my wife that the fucking village people are like completely different. The village people are completely different. Look here on the screen. There's a dude in here said that it says that there was a military guy in here now, but look, okay, you got the Indian. I remember the motorcycle guy. You got a cop, a construction worker, a cowboy, and who's this guy with the sword or the bayonet or something? This makes absolutely zero sense. I pull this one up, right? Where'd this Navy guy come from, man? Where in the fuck did the Navy guy come from? I don't understand. That's crazy. That's something I'm going to have to delve into a little bit more. Holy sheep shit. Crazy. Oh, look. There's Burn the Corporate Fiction. Came to see us. You're probably too young to remember the village people, right?
From the look of the picture, I don't think I would have been very interested in that anyways.
Oh, it was at the height of disco. They did that song that's the gay anthem that Trump comes out to, YMCA, you know.
That Illumitami fella actually made a good point, though. They are all jobs except for the Indian. Or,
unless he's got a casino.
Right. Is that a job? We don't know.
It's
an interesting thought, though, right?
But yeah, the Navy guy is absolutely new. The Navy guy was never there before.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Lord. We're going to have to look into that one. Absolutely. Oh,
yeah, man. So what's going on?
Oh, same old shit. Just a different day. We're kind of going over some stuff. Have you got your train derailment decorations up?
Not at the moment, no.
Definitely train derailment season. We had another one crash in Barstow, just outside of Barstow, California.
Well,
no toxic waste this time, though.
It's gonna be what it's gonna be because I mean it's obviously a coordinated, right? So I mean, but nobody seems to really. Everybody feels so powerless. It seems like, right? They don't realize that.
Well, were you here the other night when we were looking around? Somebody came up with the idea, says, I wonder what the cobalt deposits are around there. And so I looked up cobalt deposits in Ohio. And sure as hell, they're all right around that area where that train derailed, man.
What about it, though?
That's what they use for those fucking batteries.
Oh, interesting.
Move the little blue people out of the tree. I want what's under it.
Well,
you saw Avatar, right?
I don't advocate any kind of like lawlessness or rioting or anything like that, but I would say that people should probably be at least raising some questions at this point, right? But like why are all the freshwater supplies being, I mean, just think about it. You got the Ohio, which runs into the Mississippi, the Delaware, right? That just happened. And, so you just think about it from like a general's perspective, right? So if you're going to lay siege to somewhere, right? If you can stamp out fresh water and food, right? Which however many food processing plants over the last period of years, well, you've won before it's even started because you've taken away the capacity to sustain a defense. Yeah. So that I mean is just 101. But the biggest problem, like I was telling you earlier on the phone, is just people do not want to learn law and history, man. Just learn history and law, guys. Like you want people to spoon feed it to you, all right? But you'll never understand it if you don't learn it. Like if you don't go read it and come to your own understandings, you'll never understand law and history. And most people only want to learn what they're forced to, right? There's no interest in going and being like, well, I don't know. That seemed so that War of 1812 chapter was only 4 pages.
Yeah.
In elementary school.
Right? 1812, the British sacked Washington, D.C., and Dolly Madison saved a whole bunch of paintings and shit.
The end. Right. I remember that because I was excited about getting like, shit, this is a short chapter. We don't got to do shit today. Right.
Yep. Now let's go play Oregon Trail.
Right. And they get you, and they're teaching you that shit at an age where it's not going to mean anything to you. Right. Because you don't pay bills and property taxes and all that other shit yet. Right. So it doesn't mean anything to you. Right now, they teach you the Bill of Rights when it doesn't mean anything to you because you don't have to exercise them. You're just, okay, this is your Bill of Rights. Now it's recess. Let's go out to the playground. You know what I mean? Like, what? Wait a minute. Yeah, I'd be surprised if they even still teach it. The Constitution has a harmful content warning label on it in the fucking National Archive. So, you know, there's that. But no, you know, people don't want to learn anything there, you know, so like you grow up and you start to go, as soon as you learn that the way our monetary system set up, and so that should raise some questions. You know, I remember when I first started to learn this stuff and I was like, what do you mean the Federal Reserve is a private bank? What? Wait, hold on a minute. So who are they accountable to? The Federal Reserve. Okay. And they print and control all of our money. Yep. That doesn't seem right. You know, so then I went and started to look into it. And now I know what I know today. However many years, that's been about 11 years now. Right. But that's exactly what started me. It was actually a David Icke book. Right. It was called David Icke's Guide to Global Conspiracy. Right. A buddy of mine had it. I picked it up. I thought it was complete horseshit at the time. And I started reading. I was like, wait a minute, man. Is this true? Is it these guys? Is the private bank controls our currency? How the fuck did that happen? And then once you start learning law, you go through and everything that founded this country was literally set up to keep that from happening. And like the history, you got the War of 1812, the Revolutionary War, which I just learned the other day was actually called the First American Civil War. Did you know that?
Yes. Yes.
I found an old book on archive.org that's like super old. It's called the First American Civil War. That's the actual real name of the revolution.
What we refer to as the Civil War was in the South called the Second War of American Independence.
I told you I was speaking with that lawyer, right? And I got him to realize that I knew what the hell I was talking about. Then he was candid with me, and I could tell they're most definitely under some kind of secret thing, like to try to go, oh, that's old law. You can't bring up motherfucker. There's no such thing as old law in this country. There's one law. What do you mean old law? That's not a thing, dude. Right. So anyways, I told him, he said, you know why? He actually said this. He said, you know that Jefferson Davis and Robert E. Lee had statues because at the time when those statutes were made, it was because they were considered real defenders of the original Constitution. A fucking lawyer said this to me. Real protectors of the original Constitution. That's what he said about Jefferson Davis and Robert E. Lee. Can you believe that?
Damn.
Yeah. A lawyer. That's fucking, yeah. So that, you know, and people don't understand. It was, the Confederacy, there's a bunch of racists. We were all Confederate states. Michigan, I live in Michigan. It was a Confederate state. It's all of them. That's how it was set up. Dumbass. Learn history. Fucking, you go to first chapter or the first article of the Constitution is already talking about states. Okay. You have to, if you know what you don't know about law, because nobody wants to go learn shit, there has to be a document creating states. How do we go from colonies to states? When did that happen? Right? You just you go from colonies to, oh, now these states are going to form a more perfect union. Okay. What do you mean? Where did the states come from? Right. No, the Articles of Confederation never fucking went anywhere. It was built upon. Right. But anyway, I digress. Back to your Mandela shit.
Yeah. Listen, this is getting bad with this fucking debt. What he said, he just said that the Fed no longer shows up on this thing. Who's going to notice?
Hold on.
Right.
I want to see that Constitution behind him. What Constitution? This is the Declaration of Independence, man. Right?
Is that Illuminati?
Yeah. This would be the Declaration of Independence, which is actually a formal document, a legal document, as well as a declaration, right? It's declaring the intent to tell Britain to fuck themselves. But yeah, that debt clock, go back to that real quick. Where's the gold at and silver?
Yeah, let's see here.
It should be all the way over in the right.
Let's see, got
Yeah.
dollar to oil, dollar to silver, $0 per ounce.
Yeah. Ugh, that is not good.
Dollar to gold ratio, $0 per ounce. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
So that means we're on ass right now. That's what that means.
Oh boy. Yeah. No wonder. Let me zoom that up for the folks at home can see it. Whoops, I'm on the wrong screen. Hang on. Let me get over here. Almost zoomed in on the wrong screen. So does this go over a little further? Yeah, here we go. So if y'all can see this over here, here's what your dollar to oil ratio is 0.2, man.
That's excellent. So
The dollar to silver ratio is 0 per ounce, and the dollar to gold ratio is now 0 per ounce.
yeah, that's looking like some 1933 scenario right there. But hey, man,
1929. You know, I mean, look, this shit is insane. So what the fuck does that do? We're dead.
so yeah, it's not good. But the good news is that hopefully this will inspire some monetary reform at some point, right? So Ron Paul, and I've heard many older gentlemen say this before me, and I can also concur now at this point, is one of the very few truly honest politicians, right? But that's also why he doesn't have a following. So, but he called for an audit of the Federal Reserve in 2012. And they said, we're not subject to the Freedom of Information Act because we're a private company. You know what I mean? So we're not going to be giving you any of that. And it's so here's the situation that we're in. It's all debt-based economy globally, right? So only fools and psychopaths actually want some kind of massive war or upheaval. So the best bet that we have is to get somebody who's a damn good businessman to kind of get us back into a power stance. You know what I mean? In my opinion.
It's a huge tangled fucking web to try to untangle. It's like, have you ever run across a fucking gob of fishing line that is just, it's better to just throw it away and get a new reel?
Yeah, except for what's involved with throwing it away.
I would say it's more like when you hook your buddy's ear and you're still trying to cast out and you're like jerking your friend's ears.
Dude, I did that. There was this girl that she liked me, right? And I used to go down to the lake and fish all the time, and she always would just want to hang around me. And I didn't particularly, like her back, but I didn't mind her hanging around. And I went to cast off this lure, and I went back like this, and I went to go, and it caught. And I heard her going like that. The fucking thing was caught in her neck skin right here. Those little treble hooks and shit were caught in her neck skin. It was pulling on her and shit.
That is terrible.
Fucked up, man.
That's terrible. No, so I mean,
I think she stopped liking me then.
Yeah, probably. She was not a big fan. But yeah,
I was at a private Christian school in like 6th grade, just with a big old stick golfing rocks in the parking lot, and a girl came up behind me and caught a backswing up under the chin. I was severely problem child reprimanded over that shit.
Yeah,
like she was a tomboy. She wasn't mad because she realized she walked up like a dumbass, but her chin started like dumping blood, and I was like, oh fuck. Like in 6th grade at a private school.
This has got me fucking, I didn't even know this. This has got me fucked up right here.
Yeah, it's been that way for a while, man. So it's runaway inflation. You got the fucking, I hate, honestly, dude, I know you're not a big fan of picking sides in the system, but dude, Democrats are fucking us up right now with this overprinting of inflation.
Yeah, it's a manufactured dialectic, absolutely. But is the right going to actually no? What it's going to do is what they're getting a synthesis.
No.
They
Well,
got
here's the
thesis,
theater.
antithesis, and then you got synthesis. It's
Well-
always how they do it, man.
There is, as a matter of fact, a group of very powerful individuals that do not want to see us become a fucking communist country. It's no good for business for anybody, right? Do not want to see the United Nations on our soil trying to pull us into eating bugs and fucking renting drills by drone
Talking about me, Jeebus?
that we have to share, right? So, because that is the future that they're trying to push towards us, right? And there are very powerful, people always just assume that all rich people are on the same fucking side, right? They're not. Like a great example of this is the Titanic, right? Where where JP Morgan had to get rid of old Astor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his ilk because they didn't want to go with the program. You see what I'm saying? You still have that today. That's what I'm saying, So you have within the conservative movement individuals that very much want to see this country be prosperous and be what it's supposed to be. Maybe not what it's originally supposed to be, but at least not a fucking communist one world utopia type situation where we're feeding our kids cricket paste. Okay, so that's that much is clear.
But
And,
what if it's cricket paste in 5 exciting new flavors?
They've literally called it a Snowpiercer bar, as if you needed it shoved in your face anymore. There's a brand called the Snowpiercer bar, and on that movie, they ate crickets in that train.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Right. The
Yeah,
money
like if
back.
you weren't on the high class 1% train cars, you were getting the cricket bars sent back to keep doing your labor bullshit.
So I got to tell you, man, like, whatever we do, we got to get that lunatic in office or out of office. We got to get that motherfucker out of office. Because,
Dude, he's not the only one. Look, man, look how long that nutcase with the golden arches eyebrows sat in that fucking marble palace and became Speaker of the House.
oh
Look
my
how
God.
long the guy who's president now hung on like a fucking tumor parasite in the goddamn Senate all those fucking years doing shit. Nothing, man.
Are you guys familiar with Game of Thrones and the Iron Bank?
Yeah. I made that
right.
reference earlier. So that's where when I was on the conversation, I was on the phone with my dad earlier and I was talking about that. And yeah, it's the Iron Bank. Look, I get it. We all see it. We know what's happening, right? There's not a fucking thing we can do about it right now. We have more pressing matters, right? So like it is like Game of Thrones, where you have these warring fucking clans who have different ideas for the future, right? And yeah, they all go to the Iron Bank to fund their shit.
No, that is the theater, my friend. Like, it is all just to distract us because the future is that world central banking Ponzi scheme that has its fingers in the pockets of every government that's doing the theater for us.
Well, yes and no, right? So they're sort of like, I guess you could consider it like, no matter who wins and what they want, everybody vying for power, they win. So honestly, there's not really that much give a fuck on that part, probably. You've got more of these deranged, power-hungry psychopaths that are not quite at that level. You know what I mean? Like, so like your Schwabs, right? Your Klaus Schwab, this fucking guy, right? Or Bill Gates, for the love of God. That guy wants to.
Schwab's father was a uniform-wearing Nazi, too.
Who was,
like
yeah,
his direct
exactly.
daddy he grew up with was a uniform-wearing Nazi.
Yeah, and these people want to. So America, like this country, literally is like. So the reason we have a Statue of Liberty, and yes, you can go into all its esoteric implications and everything, but it literally is the vestigial flame. It literally is the last light in the fucking world right now. Like we are the last. everybody else in the world is looking at us to see what we're going to do and see whether or not we're going to allow this shit to happen. Everybody.
I think more or less the rest of the world is looking at us and hoping that we're going to fail merely because we've been so fucking evil for so goddamn long, while convincing everybody that lives here that we're the greatest people in the fucking world and we're the greatest place in the world and we stand for all this righteous shit while simultaneously committing reprehensible acts around the world, man.
Well, this country is the original framework that's still there, waiting to be reclaimed. All that's required is a mass of people actually give a fuck to go educate themselves on the way law works and what really happened in history. And it's still there because it was never actually lawfully conquered. It was never overtly conquered. It's like John F. Kennedy said. He says that it's been infiltrated by people who use covert means, guerrillas by night instead of armies by day, right? They buy people off. They do things behind the scenes. Everything's so subtle, control the educate, right? So, but here's the thing. It's the people's fault, right? It's when people wake up and realize that the documents that we have that made this country so great and preserved freedom for as long as it did, and this country was the only one of its type in the history of the world that we know of, because history has also been all. But as far as recent recorded history, this country was the only one you could own property. Think about this. So like all throughout history, like nobody actually understands how significant that is. Right? Because anywhere else you go, even England, fucking France, Spain, Germany, you were always a subject to a sovereign. But here, you could own your shit. That was one of the fundamental principles of this country. You own your shit. Nobody can make you continue to pay for your shit. Nobody can come on your shit and take it from you. And if they try to, you can shoot them and nobody can do shit to you. Right? At all. Doesn't matter. And period. And so, but these documents that gave us this original freedom, just like Thomas Jefferson said, the tree of liberty needs to be refreshed from time to time with blood of patriots and tyrants alike. Okay, that means you need to be willing to do what's necessary to keep it, including losing your life. Okay, because it's not just about you, it's about future generations. It's about future generations that deserve the opportunity to have the same things that you had, right? That's what it's about. But people always expect just the document itself to hold the wolves back. That's not how it works, man. That's why the First Amendment gives you the right to speak up, and the Second Amendment gives you the right to enforce what you say. Period. That's it. And nobody wants to enforce it.
Though, that when the Federal Reserve got instated, none of us voted for that. Nobody signed that treaty, and that's half the problem, that people were blind to that and just voted and went back.
No, they weren't actually. They were not blind to it at all. There's many outspoken opponents to it. What happened was people were so comfortable because now you were starting to create the middle class. Okay, that middle class, comfortable, cushy. I'm gonna go work a 9 to 5 and I can afford to buy a house and feed my family and do all this shit. So I don't want to make any waves. Right. So we're just going to let this go have. So it's just like Juvenal said, give the people bread and circuses and they'll never revolt. Well, they took that a step further and just increased the bread and circuses. Now you've got indoor plumbing, you got grocery stores you can go buy food from. You don't have to go find or grow food. All these creature comforts that people are. So you got your fucking social media, your television, all this stuff nowadays. People don't want to make waves. It says it right in this document behind me. Men will suffer abuses while abuses are sufferable. Right. Well, you just increase the sufferability of abuses and then you can pretty much do whatever you want. But absolutely not. You had like many congressmen. I have a congressional record myself, like Charles Binderup also, who wrote Unrobing the Ghosts of Wall Street. And he was an outspoken opponent of Wall Street and the central banking system. All throughout these periods of history, back when people could have really stopped this, there was like not just people like us speaking up, but there's people in Washington speaking up. Like, dude, this is fucked up. But the only thing.
As far as Wall Street, though, when it was legit Wall Street, like think of like the black community was held back by not being able to own houses, and the white community was held back by being allowed to think that Wall Street is just a gamble when it's actually better than a savings account. As far as beating inflation and increasing wealth.
So pretty much for only a very, very short period of time. Actually, I wouldn't even as far as say you have not been able to own anything since the Federal Reserve has been established, essentially. And then especially after 1933. There's March 9th, 1933, page 83, second paragraph. It says the dollar will represent 100 cents on the dollar, and it doesn't need gold to back it because it represents a mortgage on the homes and all the other property of every person in this country. What people don't realize,
Right, and then they affect the value by flooding or retracting.
No, what you don't just that simple statement, because people don't understand how finance works. When a mortgage, all throughout history, mortgage is not a new fucking concept. Mortgage is an old English. They had mortgages in feudal times. Mortgage is a dead pledge. Mortgage means I'm going to give over my property or myself for a term of years in exchange for something valuable, money, whatever, right? Now, when a mortgage happens, there's a split title created. There's an equitable beneficial title and a legal title. Okay, so that very sentence, that one sentence in that congressional record indicates that there immediately became a split title to everything you own. You only have the legal title, which means you use it for somebody else's benefit. The real owners are the ones that they fucking mortgaged it to.
Yep. So
Right.
the thing
Had,
that's going
somebody
on
up here ask-
recently-
Had somebody up here ask earlier what happened to the bankruptcy thing what happened to the U.S. Incorporated bankruptcy paperwork Trump filed in May of 2020 in Tallahassee, Florida court. My answer was it's probably sitting underneath the McFadden indictment and probably will remain there forever and ever and ever as long as we have bar
what you see
lawyers.
This
going
is why I
on is
say, like, Trump is actually trying to do shit. So, yes, you have to play a certain role when you're on the world stage, especially because if we look at presidents throughout history who did not play a certain role, right? What happened? Lincoln, right? He didn't want to establish a central bank. He thought he was just going to go ahead and become king of the United States. That's what he thought.
Mhm.
He thought, shit, I'm going to go ahead and use these imperial tyrannical powers, and I'm going to corporatize all of the states, right? And bring them under federal jurisdiction. I'm just going to be emperor of the United States. But I'm not even, you know what? Fuck you too, Iron Bank. That's what Abraham Lincoln said. Fuck you, Iron Bank. And the Iron Bank said, no,
Same
fuck
with
you.
JFK, same with small mustache.
Then JFK shut down the
And
Federal
small
Reserve with an
mustache.
executive order for a period of time.
And that's kind of what the thing is. You've got these different classes of elite. That there's the old money, and then what they call the nouveau riche, right? Which Kennedy's were nouveau riche. You see, old man Kennedy became a millionaire through bootlegging and shit. Okay, he was just an Irish immigrant, and then he got to this level, right? So that was this new class of elite, and they look at the old money people differently. They don't get along. They usually don't get along at all.
Yeah, because the old money people think they own everybody and everything.
Yep.
And actually, in essence, at this
I
point,
have to agree with this, though.
they do. However, Trump plays a specific role, right? Whether you want to think he's a puppet or whatever, the things he was actually doing with his actions were making our country better and putting us in a stronger position.
Well, they were, and he's going to be used to be the savior to sweep in and put us on cashless whenever that's the solution.
No, absolutely not. Actually, he's opposed to CBDC, just like most other hardcore conservative Republicans that aren't in the pockets of the corporate.
Right, but CBDC is running on a ledger that was created by an open ledger of the same system that doesn't have all the tyranny.
It doesn't matter. The reasons they're rejecting CBDC have nothing to do with what ledger it's on. It's what it opens the door for. The fact that all of your purchases can be tracked, the fact that they can shut your fucking account off at any time, the fact that they can.
That is all the CBDC form of the other version that is the open, you can't do that to people thing. Like CBDC is all the mark of the beast, but doesn't require a tattoo. And the company that made that for these governments once the governments realized they couldn't beat them at
Dude,
their ledger game.
And
they
people have been talking
requested-
about the mark of the beast since the social security number. And honestly, if anything fits the bill for that scripture, that would be it. The social
But I'm not
security
even
number.
saying, I'm saying if we were a world full of atheists, the CBDC still does the mark of the beast stuff.
Right. But what I'm saying to you is that that qualification has already been met with the social security number. Period. Like that.
But you
so
still have
one could-
cash
so
to use.
let me explain
the
this to you.
significance of
Do you know
CBDC
what-
is it's going
do
to
you know what the
replace
legal-
cash, and you won't have a private transaction with papers.
No, let me follow that thought for a second, because I read Law Dictionary because that's the most etymologically sound dictionary that you can find, especially an older law dictionary, right? So you go to the 1856 Bouvier's Law Dictionary, and you know what the process of what they did to this country is called?
It's
called damnification.
It's
called damnification.
Is a contract in itself.
What is?
The CBDC will be the contract. That's the thing.
Listen, the money that you use right now, do you have dollar bills in your wallet?
No.
No, you don't? Do you have dollar bills in your bank account?
I have the digital fiat in my bank account. I have.
Okay, my point is every one of those.
And
every
my
one of those
brokerage
federal-
account looks like a phone number.
Okay, so every one of those Federal Reserve notes are a contract. It's called a promissory note.
Mhm.
Okay, and it is a contract. It represents your indenture.
Right. I know what it is. I'm trying to talk about where we're going, like why
So am I.
Elon Musk really bought Twitter and what's really going on with the BRICS and the BRICS nations to counter the petrodollar, which is what we've been exploiting with that Saab was talking about. That's how we've been exploitative with the embargoes and trade stipulations, because the Middle East agreed, like only the American dollar buys oil. You must convert to American dollar to buy oil. And BRICS is what's going to counter that, because Russia's
course.
on board, China and Saudi Arabia is like, yeah, we feel that. And so, and the president of Kenya just told everybody, if you got American dollars, like go ahead, spend them, get out of that stuff. Because to make a one world government, you must knock America down a peg, and you're not going to do it by
No,
the
you
military.
must not knock down America. You must not knock America down a peg. You must destroy it. And that is why I'm saying what I'm saying. Like, you can say what you want about the guy, right? But the truth is he represents a group of very wealthy, powerful people that do not want to see that happen. Okay.
Yeah, Trump, right?
Yes.
I agree, but he doesn't have to know that he's playing the role.
It
He
doesn't
can be-
listen, regardless of what it is, if people back him and those values that he represents, this is what you have to understand. Everything's energy. That's why we volt, right? That's why when you
Oh,
go
I
to court,
know.
you get charged, you receive a charge, you discharge duties. Everything's energy. So where you put your energy in the beliefs and the morals and values that a person represents, when you put your energy to that, or if you do not put your energy towards that, that signals, okay, to everybody that actually knows how everything works, right? There's a whole set of laws that people are not even privy to, okay, in the way that the world works. All right. And there's silence is consent, for instance. Silence is consent. So if you're like, oh, it doesn't matter who the fuck I vote for because it's the same people or whatever, right? Then you're consenting to allow them to fucking do whatever they want to you. And that's how they literally, you don't watch Mark Passio. He talks about it. He talks about
isn't the vote your consent? Like you're clicking the I agree on your iPhone to the bullshit your iPhone's going to pull? Like click I agree. That's why I don't vote, because I didn't sign this treaty. I never agreed to this bullshit.
Right. But guess what? It doesn't make a difference. Okay.
Exactly. So why pick a lesser if you can just not pick? Because
do you know what happens? Do you know what happens if these fuckers, if this same administration stays in? Do you know what the next steps are? You know, it's all has to do with why they're doing what they're doing to the rivers and everything.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's united. They don't plan on using our
troops. What
troops.
the same bird, the two wings, same bird. That's where it's always flying. I agree. Like it doesn't matter between left and right, because there is the predetermined, like you're saying, food plants, train wrecks, ridiculous decisions that would never be made in the 80s or 90s. Like
See,
I
the
get it.
whole reason I don't vote is because I've not seen anybody worth fucking voting for.
Exactly, because they're all
and
pre-screened to play ball.
that's exactly right. And if I'm sorry, man, to think that there are white hats in government, they're gonna come and save you from the fucking government. That's crazy, man.
It's
The
not
best
about
way
people. The only people that can save people is us.
it's
first of all.
controlled opposition. Yeah, and the only way we're going to save us is to shit can them, all of them.
Right, but we have to
I
operate
think-
within the bounds of reality, and that's never ever going to fucking happen. Ever.
I think the first step would be informing society very clearly on the Hegelian dialect of problem, reaction, solution, and then reviewing how it's been used time and time again, like lockdowns and the jab is your
here's the
freedom
issue,
after
man.
lockdown.
So most people are sheep, and they want to believe what they want to believe. So you can see some things that most other people can't, right? You're not going to get them to see it, and if you can get them to see it, they're going to shut it down, right? They're going to be like, oh, whatever, dude. I've been at this shit for over a decade. It's easily.
Well, that's what we did in the AMC play. The AMC play exploited the Wall Street connection to the government, and now they're changing the system over it. I think they're stalling to pay the squeeze play out in CBDCs.
This is the reason when I do my next show, which has been a while, I've been busy this last week, incredibly busy. But my next show is going to be called The Convention. And I invite everybody, come to say government was abolished tomorrow, right? What form of government would you create? And here's what I say. So you have to realize that from 1776 to 1876, okay, 1876, the United States as it was as a Confederate Republic died. It was done. So from 1876 to 2023, it's been steadily getting fucked up. Right. So people think a guy's going to just come in and completely undo all that. The last guy that tried to do it got his fucking head blown off in Dallas. Okay.
Oh, did he?
I mean,
that may not have even happened.
For what you're talking about, though, whenever we really think about what you're saying, that means this plan or direction was started.
So let me ask you
and
this: what would you recommend?
Generations have died off, but the next generation is still instructed to keep that.
So we have 7 years before the plan's complete, according to them, right? And we probably have 2 years before it's fully like on a full tilt, complete sprint towards it. All right.
Well, July is Fed Now dollar or whatever
no, let me ask you what you do. So you don't want to support
That's
anybody
July.
that might counter this, right? That counters what's going on, that counters the CBDC, that counters the fucking shit that the Democrats are doing, right? And believe me, if anybody gets what you're talking about, I do, right? But what I'm trying to explain to you is so you don't want to support somebody that's willing to try to bring our jobs back here, to use our own resources. Do you realize that we have, like, if you look at Google Maps or whatever Siri shit that you got, whatever you got, right? If you look at the maps and you look at the vast expanse of the United States, it's mostly unpopulated resources, forests and rivers and lakes and fucking mountains and minerals and oil and we have everything in this country that we could possibly need to support ourselves, right? And legitimately, that's what Donald Trump was doing. Was he was trying to use our shit and tell everybody to fuck off. He was shutting China down. China was pissed at him, shutting China completely down. Joe Biden is getting money from China. He's fucking getting paid by China right now.
I know why we're in the Ukraine over Joe Biden and his crackhead son.
Right. So here's my point is regardless of what you think about the people above that issue, because that issue, the people above that issue are no longer that issue. This issue is the pressing issue, right? In my opinion. And you might have a different one. So I'm asking you, what would be your solution then? So like I said, we got 2 years before we're on full blast towards this 7 years from now, eating crickets and fucking compulsory, stuff, you know what I'm saying? And all that, right? What's your plan, Illumitami? What do you think we should do?
Well, what I'm trying to say is I agree with everything you're saying, but the shit that I'm saying is like the sooner date. Like what you're saying does need attended to, but this fast track to the CBDCs and digital currency, it's under the radar that people, that's one of the things I think people are being distracted from, because I have to like dig deep to get the real details.
I see
even
news
on-
reports all the time talking about these different Republican governors shooting that shit down. DeSantis says fuck no. Texas governor says fuck no. Like, dude,
but
like,
yeah, I like to see them doing that. But what do you think of George Soros? Is like he either picked or is pushing for DeSantis? And DeSantis does
I just
have
watched
like
I just watched DeSantis give a
military
speech the other
discipline,
day.
like ruthlessness.
So George
He's a
Soros
jag
did that to make him look bad. And I watched DeSantis the other day basically tell George Soros to fuck off.
Mhm.
He literally on live
Literally.
television. He was like, dude, it's George
Felt good to
Soros.
see that, right? You want to
Well-
see that, just like you want to see Trump do the right thing.
It's
And
a
that's-
it's
Well,
a
I got to look at it. I got to look at it like this, right? We got this guy says no, and these guys over here say yes. So what do we got here? We've got a thesis and an antithesis, right? Okay. So what I'm looking at, what's going to be the synthesis that they come to? Because they always do. We got one guy saying no. We got these other guys saying yes. We got this other governor saying no. We got these other guys saying yes. So, it's two sides. They're going to come to a synthesis, and that's the plan.
Well, here's the thing. No, what's actually going on is that even if they're presenting two different characters, however you want to look at it, what they're doing is they're leaving the choice up to the people. Okay, because it's what do the people want? Because that's it. A democracy is mob rule. We're not supposed to be a democracy, but that's what we are. This corporate oligarchy is disguised as a democracy, and that's what we
We're a
are.
republic, aren't we?
We're
if
supposed to
we
be a
can keep it.
constitutional republic founded on individual liberties to elect officials that are bound to a service term of years in service under a trust indenture and technically not considered free. That's in Article 1 of the Constitution. So, yeah, that's what we're supposed to be. But again, we have to come back to reality and deal within the realms of what we're actually dealing with here. And so,
Hey, to that comment that's on the bottom of the screen for Sean Alke, don't come around here agreeing with my shit if I'm glass pipe Tommy. What's glass pipe Tommy mean? Come up and talk about it.
let's not talk about it. That's drama. That's
Yeah,
Jerry
that's what I'm
Springer
saying to
shit.
him.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
being
not getting into the
facetious.
drama things. He didn't say anything.
No, that's
in
what
that
I'm
comment
saying.
about
Just
it.
it follows me, guys.
Yeah,
I'm
go
just
ahead
giving
and
a
go ahead
little-
and say it to him in the chat, though. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm
So,
not equipped for that right now.
so
That's kinda funny.
here's what I'm saying is they're
Well, then we
presenting,
just
they're
let
leaving,
it
they're
go.
leaving the option up to us, right? And it's where are people going to put their time and energy? Where are they going to put their time and energy behind, right? Ultimately, that is why it's important. There's nothing worse than somebody who does not take sides. You know what somebody who does not take sides, you know what that person is a person without character, has no virtues, no morals. Like, even if you're a bad guy and that's what you're all about, and you're all about doing the bad shit and you want the world to be under evil reign of terror shit, right? At least you picked a side and you stand on
I
something.
see. Here's where I gotta stop.
Yeah,
As far as
I can't
I'll
do that
I'll
either.
respectfully be that guy for you. I don't pick sides between two sides that don't align with me. I just live my moral, like in my life, I live that thing. And
Yeah,
if
I have to agree, Tommy. It's like I think you're going along the same lines as where I am. The lesser of two evils is still evil. I choose no evil.
Well, here's
yeah,
a
and if
simple
we
fact.
say those two sides are one bird, then we are the side against that two wings, same bird. Because
So another way to look at that symbol from somebody who studied esoterics for a long time is it shows you the illusion of duality. It's the two extreme poles of one eternal principle. Those two wings are always going to be part of the same bird because it's all
what you're
one.
talking about in science, that's the dichotomy of the left-right brain.
No,
that your
what
brain
I'm
is
talking about is
naturally
the
making
illusion
the two
is-
bipolar sides of it.
When you recognize the illusion of dichotomy, right, you realize that there's two extreme degrees of one archetypal thing, and that applies to everything, all universally. So yes, you recognize it in government, and that's fine. Now, which side do you prefer? Do you like blue-haired liberal chop the gender off of fucking children people, or do you like conservative fucking use our own resources, tell China to fuck off? And,
Bomb other countries and shit for their resources. No, I don't like either one of them. I think they're both fucking assholes. That's
Well-
the way I look at it. They're both assholes.
Listen, it's the
How about we get a third option in there of somebody
What is
that's
it?
not either one of those fucking things and is straight down the middle of the path.
So
I'm not gonna do
operating
that.
within the bounds of reality, right? Realistically, of something that we could do. Like I said, only fools and madmen actually want war. And listen, it doesn't come from a fear of death. I have no fear of my personal death, but I do have people that I care about that I would prefer not to have to go through a fucking some sort of wartime upheaval. If it happens, it happens, and I'm ready to do what I have to do. But at the same time, every father, every husband should fucking feel that way. I mean, dude, it was encapsulated great in The Patriot with Mel Gibson. His attitude is exactly right, right? It's no, war is not glorious. No, war is not a beautiful thing. War is going to be, you're going to have fucking Chinese or UN soldiers over here trying to fucking rape your wife and burn your goddamn house down. Okay, that's what war is. All right, no matter how badass you think you are, there are highly trained motherfuckers that will come take you out. No question. So now within the bounds of reality, right? What do you suggest? Because I'll tell you what, I know one option leads to not that. Okay. And the other option absolutely leads directly to that on a fast fucking track.
So you're saying we should bow down and cower to the fucking shit and the lesser of two evils to avoid that.
Nobody said to bow down to shit.
I mean, that's what we have to do because look,
would you consider yourself?
Hold on, I'm just going to put it this way. All right. So let's say I was a voting person. Okay. And my choice is going to be between Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Okay. In one instance, I have what appears to be a senile old man that doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, who wants to step on every bit of my rights, both natural and constitutional.
Okay.
Versus Donald Trump, who seems to know what's going on, but at the same time doesn't, because he's willing to publicly state that he would violate the Constitution of the United States that he vowed to protect and defend, that he would go ahead and commit to things that lead to my oppression, like take the guns, due process later, civil asset forfeiture programs, those types of things. And there's many, many more hits to go along with it. So to me, that's like saying, would you rather that I flog you with a fucking whip, or would you rather that I smack you with bamboo canes? I don't want either one.
You get to pick your plantation owner. Yeah, like you'll stay and work as long as you get to pick who's cracking the whip. Right?
Here's a simple fact: until people learn law and history, right? Until the general mass of people learn law and history, right? One of those two people is going to win, right? So now let's bring it back to reality. With the implications of what would happen with either person, which would you prefer?
Oh, it's not going to matter because they're not the
ones. That's what I'm saying.
Anyway.
You keep telling me I have to go with. I mean, I know the system is in place enough that it's like there's an extent you're not going to beat, like cashless is coming. And you're still even keeping me in this Dem rep dichotomy that I'm like, that's the illusion. That's the theater that we think we have a choice.
Listen, we all know it's a theater. You are misunderstanding what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is one of those two people are going to be in charge. And if the one that is in charge right now, if that party is in charge, fast track to 2030.
And I agree with you. I tell people all the time I'd sit through Trump way better than the left, but that doesn't mean I'm going to click that I agree disclaimer. I just hope the best for people to pick him. But I see a veil of it that it's like, I'm not going to stand before my God and say I watched the footage of people pulling up to outside vote things, cramming boxes of votes in, and there's payments connected to them for doing it, and I'm not going to partake in that, knowing that it's like that, you know. That's
so like,
but just so I can get moving, I'm in Denver. These are level 3 soft plates rated for any pistol round that I wish I was dead. I am literally 1 degree of Kevin Bacon from various Colorado shootings that you've heard about. So there's an aspect to this where I'm like, every individual still has to be their best individual before we even start grouping up and changing things. And I
Yeah.
see a lot of idiocracy out there, my dude.
Well, the order
know?
this would have to go into is one, you would have to actually have a godly society. Now, it doesn't matter how you choose to believe in the creator, but you have to believe that your actions in life have repercussions after life, right? Which is how our country was originally set up. You couldn't hold office if you didn't believe in God, because your oath would be meaningless, right?
And the
And then
WEF is saying there will be a one world religion. I'm not going to buy into it, but that's what they're saying to replace.
listen, what
all
they're
these
doing with this
pesky
shit is they're
differences.
trying to tell you what's going to happen. The only
Oh,
way
I
this
hear you,
shit
man. I'm gonna
is
die on
actually
my
going to
hands.
happen is if you let it happen. That's the thing about it. Like, fuck them guys. They don't. Who are you? Like, what do you mean that's going to happen? Right?
Okay, do you know why I came back to Paul's stupid show after I'd left and they got me back? It's because one of his thumbnail girls emailed me and said, "We heard crypto millionaires have been getting killed," and I was just checking on you. And it's like, that is true. It wasn't me because I'm not a crypto millionaire, but it is true that was happening. And I don't see, like, with all this theater with Bitcoin and SEC versus Ripple, like, those things are decided like maybe 10 years ago, because Bitcoin was the trial run. That's why Satoshi is this an anonymous person that no one knows, because it was just the trial run for this CBDC stuff.
Well, yeah, the Rothschilds own Bitcoin right now, so they bought it. They bought it all up. So that's not a stretch of the imagination. Of course, it
And
was
I'm
created.
sure you know the Rothschilds and the Nazis or some group is what created Israel and like gave it to the Jews. It's fucking crazy.
Well, it was
No,
Lord Bell.
actually, Illumitami, what happened was that the British Expeditionary Forces during World War One pushed the Turks out of Palestine, and then the Brits stayed there. And then
But have
Lord
you seen the
Balfour,
thing where Mr. Burns?
Lord Balfour, who was the Prime Minister of England at the time, gifted the land of Palestine to Lord Rothschild.
Yeah.
Right. Have you seen the thing where he shows that letter and tells the story? It's fucking insane. It's crazy that it happened. I mean, that shit went down. It blows my fucking mind, dude.
Here's the thing, though, that kills me, right? So everybody wants to bitch on all these channels about everything that's wrong. And everybody wants to talk about how fake everything is, right? Yet everybody's just like, well, I don't see a point in doing anything. I don't see a point in taking a side. I don't see a point in doing.
No, that's not what I'm saying, though.
I'm reading the comments. That's what everybody's saying.
I'm trying for me and you, dude. I'm trying for me and you to find these different words. This is my challenge if I'm on this spectrum. Is like, I know what you're saying and I know what I'm trying to tell you, and I cannot find.
Yeah, but what you're trying to tell me, I already know, and I'm trying to tell you it's pointless to give a fuck about that. It's pointless to give a fuck about what you're talking about, because right now we're confronted with the choice.
Change out of like
it's a fork.
Joined humans.
It's a fork in the road, right? It's a fork in the road. Which direction you want to go?
Well, see, there again, that's that false binary shit.
Yeah, I don't see two.
We're always looking at it like there's only two fucking avenues.
All binaries are false in nature. Okay?
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's more than two avenues.
Okay, what's the third? Because here's what I'm saying is nobody's learning law. Nobody's learning history. I know the fraud that was committed. I can easily prove it to a licensed attorney and he can say nothing to me, okay, at all about it. In fact, we have a long discussion on it, right? So I know. I've spent years researching, okay? No one else, like most other people, what are you guys doing? Right? It's easy. Just go learn some shit. That's your third option. That's your third option.
No I'll ever give in my life. The last no I'm ever going to give, I'm preparing that.
That's your third option. Okay. Your third option is a mass of people all of a sudden decide to educate themselves on shit. Right. And that option seems so unlikely and impossible that literally you have a better chance of fucking seeing pigs fly or having a snowball fight in hell. right?
I
Well,
said I see idiocracy outside.
Look
I
at this
agree.
from its fundamental. Let's look at this from its fundamental. Okay. There's over 300 million people in the United States. And I would say that probably about 60 million or more of those are adults within the range of being able to be of qualification to be president of the United States. Okay. And you mean to tell me out of that vast number of people, this is the best fucking shit you can come up with? A fat bloviating goddamn toad or a senile shit in your pants old man? That's your best fucking shot? That's what you got.
You're still hanging around back on pre-screen to play ball.
See, what you just said illustrates the point very perfectly. As most other people feel the same way. They're sitting back, not learning law, not learning history, not being active in what's actually going on, and bitching about it. And bitching about what's presented to them. Right.
Well, I'm not bitching about it. I just look at it for the clown show that it is, man. It's just, that's what it is. And it is a clown show. And I think that the people participating in it are just as equally clownish for the belief that they think that there's someone in this group of fucks that's going to do something beneficial for you. That anybody could actually believe that any of these people that got to that level of politics and hasn't been up to their ears in scumbaggery in order to get there, you're a naive.
No,
extremely naive.
You have to be a realist, though. You have to be a realist.
Well, the reality is that a scumbag's a scumbag, man.
The reality is that in order to do anything, these people have to play ball, because again, I'll refer to the last presidents that did not play ball. Okay. They lost their minds, quite literally. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get my charger.
I mean,
well, and also I would point out
real quick, I'm going to play this. This is only 1 minute and 22 seconds, but listen to what this fucking fat bloviating shit says right here. This is after he swore on a Bible to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, right?
Well, in the category, you spoke about it, Mr. President, gun violence restraining orders. They're called. California actually has a version of this. And I think in your meeting with governors earlier this week, individually and as a group, we spoke about states taking steps. But the focus is to literally give families and give local law enforcement additional tools if an individual is reported to be a potential danger to themselves or others. Allow due process, so no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession
Or
of that
might
individual.
take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system. Because a lot of times, by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So
Florida
you can do
also
exactly
has the
what you're saying, but
highest
take
red
the guns
flag
first, go
prosecutions
through
in the
due
country.
process second.
That's my DeSantis paranoia.
Take the guns first, do due process later.
Yeah,
Here,
what did the
let me
guy
tell you
do, though?
something.
And
Here-
red flag is when someone can just call and say they worry about what your
Right.
problem is and that you have guns.
So here's what I look at with that is, you're going to go ahead and go with that. What the hell else are you willing to throw under the bus in order to get along? I like to take the guns due process later. What the fuck are you talking about? Freedom is scary, Mr. Trump. Deal with it. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.
What was the specific instance he was referring to?
Because somebody, a crazy guy, I forget which one of these
Any
fake
given
mass
one.
shootings it was.
Do you also remember that it was Trump's supporters and the cheers of the mobs that had to remind him not to be so pro-jab? Like he was talking about the jab too much and he started getting booed and switched it up.
He ain't switched it up none. He's still pro-vax. He's still a COVIDiot.
Again,
But that's all we're going to say on that in here.
again, like
Right,
I
and
said,
my only issue is mandatory. I don't like the mandatory because
Well,
we
they
just
can't
watched
mandatory it.
tonight. Lauren De Laguna interviewed the guy that invented some self-delete kit, and I said my only issue is if it becomes mandatory.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Right.
again, there are 3 options, and the third one is impossible. Right. And barring some sort of miracle. All right. So as far as I'm concerned, I'd much rather deal with that because I know how to counter that horse shit. Right. Instead of having UN troops, because I educate myself. Instead of having UN troops on my fucking soil, right, trying to get me to give up all of my shit and go to some internment camp, right? So I would much rather deal with that problem. See, that's what I'm trying to say. The gravity of the problem.
That's why it won't be the problem, because they know America is armed and waiting for that problem. That's why they went for child education and all that shit.
What's going on, Sean? How you doing tonight, man? These guys, right? So these guys, that's the thing, is this problem is huge issue, right? What we're facing if we continue on our present course, and it doesn't matter how many fucking guns you have if you do not have food and water. So think about this, right? I'm just going to throw this out there. 3 companies in the world, right? It's BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, primarily Vanguard. They own everything. Okay.
Well, they used to. They got a lot of margin calls they need to make in the next couple, God, who knows when, but soon, because liquidity is gone. Liquidity is what they will try and push for.
So what you're saying to me right now is those people that own those companies that own majority share in everything just relinquish their control, right? They didn't.
No, I'm saying they're all being, like, whenever you hear about pensions being lost and stuff, they're all talking about like this liquidity problem, because instead of
you're not
the
understanding. The money is just power. The money, like, we can all agree that money is fucking, it's actually debt. It's not even valuable. Okay. It represents obligations and promises and contracts and agreements. And then we just trade these promises. That's why we call it fiat. Fiat and faith have the same etymological foundation. So these guys own all the food. So they're processing and making your food. There's water supplies being poisoned. All right. Right now, the major water supplies are being poisoned. They've pretty much made everybody, so I started going to farms for my food, right? Where I live.
They've actually, where they're having that water problem, in that most recent one, where was that? Somewhere here on the East Coast. Now they're having water shortages.
All right, but let me
in the stores,
there is rules to the market that can be referenced and are allegedly protected by the SEC, and more countries than just America, of every stoner and autist, are all wrapped up in this AMC play, and something has to come to pass over it. It's like where the whole system falls apart in a sham.
Those supposed coffins from the FEMA coffins stacked by the railroads, those have been here over 20 years, man. I don't think they're coffins.
So for people who, I think they're scare tactics. So for people who don't understand, right? I'm just going to show you something. What the fuck is this stupid shit?
So yeah, there's some,
for people who don't understand, I'm just going to show you something, right? So
I'm going to be audio only. I can't see the screen anymore.
So we go here to, here you go. If you want to share that. All right, so this is, let's see here. Yep, so all right, we're on the page. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is Pepsi. Pepsi's a major food manufacturer, distributor, right? And so we're going to go over to, and I know we've done this before for the sake of redundance, but we're going to go to holders, right? There we go. Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. Okay, and then Morgan Stanley, right? So who's their competitor? Coke, right? Coke. We go to Coke. We go to holders. Fucking thing.
Yeah, but you're talking about competitors that still use the printed Iron Bank that I'm trying to say is the one world.
Look at this.
I can't see the screen, dude. I told you I won't be able to see the screen.
Okay, so Vanguard and BlackRock are the first two for Coke. Okay, so what's another food distributor? Give me one.
Kraft.
Yeah, it's under Pepsi though. That was why I went to Coke and Pepsi, is because
that's all there is, isn't it? That's all there is, isn't it?
So like there's the Hershey company. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's go to Hershey. Hershey runs some food, right? So we'll go to Hershey company right here. And I've never even looked this one up before, but I'm going to be willing to bet. Right? BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. Right. So you have these three companies, all right, that own majority share. And anything you look up, I don't even have to continue. I can just tell you that anything you look up, whether it's technology, whether it's food, whether it's whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about being heavily armed, right?
No, I'm saying that despite all that shit that they own, they've all jumped into the same shorting strategies that involve naked, non-existent failure to deliver shorts. And those all have to come
I'm not talking about
fruition.
Finance. I'm talking about they could put whatever they want in your food and you would never know.
Yeah, I know that. You're like jumping all over on me, dude. Like,
no, I'm not. I'm coming back to a point, right? So if you have guns, right, and you're not worried about having to fend off UN and all that shit, right? Like it's going to be no problem because we're heavily armed, right? Well, now
I didn't say that.
Our major freshwater supplies are getting fucked up. Our food processing plants are being destroyed. Small businesses were shut down during the coup, right? 80% of small businesses throughout the country were shut down during the coup. I just went to go try to buy milk from a farm today. Did you know that it's illegal? It's against code to buy milk that's unpasteurized. Did anybody know that? I had no fucking idea.
I know that by July by July it'll be illegal to trade like animals to mix up your breeding. Like you won't be able to trade chickens anymore. And
right, we're not talking about that though, Tommy. We're talking about actual food sources. Okay, so it's illegal.
Well, they got to keep you from making your own. That's what I'm saying. Like the same way they're destroying the production plants, they're instating that you won't be able to get all kinds of agriculture animal shit except directly through veterinarians. And yeah, they're taking all the measures, man. Like I get it.
No, so what I'm getting, there's like a noose tightening around the neck of the United States. Okay. There's very few options that we have to try to either reverse this or put a stop to it before it actually gets to where it's going. Now, if it gets to where it's going, it is what it is, man. And that's just providence and that's what's going to happen. And it's just whatever, we'll deal with it if it comes, but we have to try to exhaust every available opportunity to not allow it to come to that. Right. Because again, like I said, this is not going to be like, so it's like the Civil War. What happened? You know, well, I think you're the one who told me this to begin with. That's when the Civil War started, people did what? They went and got fucking started having picnics like it was just going to be over right away. Like it was going to be some jolly fun thing to fucking watch, right?
We were going to go watch some squash the rebellion. See, and that's something that gets my ass too, is all the time we hear them, even in historical documents, those states that were in rebellion. They weren't in rebellion. They exercised their 10th Amendment right. They seceded from the Union, and you fucking attacked them.
Yeah, no, that's 100% what happened. That's what I try to explain to people. It's very obvious. It's easy to prove. It's very easy to prove. All states were Confederate, right? So if people want to learn that and learn how to demand that we be returned to our lawful government in enough numbers, right, and not expect somebody else to do it for them, but actually educate themselves in order to understand this, that's an option, right?
Yeah, but Ryan, you're talking about people educating. What are you trying to read that for? Are you some kind of a fag?
Right. What you reading them words for? You some kind of fag?
Yeah, man. That's where we're at in reality, man. You got a lot of really stupid fucking people.
But there's a lot of good people in this country, and there's a lot of people that stand on traditional values. And that's what I'm saying. So whether you like the guy or not, the people that follow him, you see what I'm saying, and the movement that he represents, that's what it's actually about. It's about traditional, conservative, dare I say, Christian values, what once held this country together very tightly.
Then here's
okay,
would be
then,
that.
Then here's the best way I can put it.
Hold on, the best option that they've got then would be this. And you don't have to be a political strategist of any kind of degree to realize this. Okay, Trump is very dividing. Whether you like him or you don't, he's very, very dividing, right? So why not let's do our own synthesis wouldn't it be just as good to see somebody like DeSantis?
DeSantis not a businessman. DeSantis has no fucking idea how to deal with billionaires at all.
But I don't know. He looks like he's doing a pretty good job dealing with them right now.
No, but he doesn't
go fuck himself.
He manages a trust. He doesn't manage his own money. He manages billions of
Trump
dollars.
don't manage his own fucking money either. He's got accountants and shit, and that's why he went bankrupt. And fucking Wilbur Ross had to bail his ass out from the Rothschild Bank.
There's actually something to that bankruptcy. That's just a financial ploy. It's not actually like he went broke. It was a way to actually make money. So that's because
so let me stop you guys because I think I can get it now. Like, you can reinstate the Constitution, all the things that you want to do with America. You can have who you want for president, but if you're still going to overseas trade or counter what's going to happen to America once the petrodollar system is off, like, that's still the issue that's coming for us.
What he was actually working on, and nobody can deny this, was our own oil pipeline so that we're not dependent on foreign oil, which would piss OPEC off, right? Secondly, he wanted our international trade to be us exporting, not importing. He wanted us to export. He wanted other people. He just said this the other day. He wanted other people to buy shit from us because we have everything we need to make everything. We have every fucking climate, every mineral resource, everything in this country. We do not need to be importing anything from anywhere unless it's
I will back you that each American state has an equivalent country that its economy is equal to. But it's just this new thing with Ripple is like, let's say Mexico and China do a deal. Neither of them have to sweat it because if they're doing it in the Ripple platform, it just converts to whatever money they're comfortable with when the deal's done. But the Ripple is liquidity guaranteed. Like, they sent $755 million over the ocean in 4 minutes for 10 cents, I think was the cost. And like wiring services and shit, they're like done, it's like each person will be their own bank account to transact.
What that
but it will be transparent.
All right. Yeah, no.
Hold your question until I get off this road. I can't always hear.
Yeah. Anyway,
my barrio has a nice pond.
So what did that have to do with what I was just talking about?
I was saying do you mean as far as like getting the Christian values and stuff back?
Well, sure, that even.
Okay, I'm saying,
what did that have to do with anything?
You can have the America that you want tomorrow. Like, let's say we can just press a button and tomorrow we wake up, it's that way. This Iron Bank issue is still its thing.
Yeah, like, but the Iron Bank has always been the issue, right? That's how this country was formed, to try to get away from it, right? But that is no longer the most pressing issue. That is my point.
No, what the advantage America has always had, even when we were being tyrannized, was the advantage of the petrodollar, and that is what's leaving. And when you guys talk about, don't you want to at least have the jobs here, those are going to be more non-existent than you think.
The advantage that this country, you said the advantage that we had when we were taking over was the petrodollar.
That's how we've tyrannized the rest of the world.
Well, yeah, that's how we established international value. But you realize that the dollar is only given value by your future labor through trust indenture, right?
No, the value of the dollar was the whole world had to use it. It was backed by the greatest military in the world, and you had to use it to buy oil, which is the energy you were saying everyone needs and fights over.
So before you even get to international, it has to have value nationally, right? So my point is the original value is your sweat equity under trust indenture.
And debt.
Okay, you're not understanding.
Yes, I understand perfectly, and you can't stand not maybe being equal or wrong. Because I'm trying to tell you what you're missing whenever you're talking about the shit I agree with.
Am I explaining this incorrectly? Am I? I don't know. So you were mortgaged. Does that make sense? That's what gives the dollar value.
No, the value is you never got a suitcase of cash to pay for your house. They mortgaged you. Now you're using your hard-earned fiat to pay them the cash you never held, but you're sitting in that house for your rate to be buried and probably put you on the street eventually.
No,
Yeah, but Tommy, what Ryan is saying comes before what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's the reason what you're saying is true is because of what he's trying to say. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
What
who
he's saying
cares
is
what
led
comes
to that.
before if it's all what is?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty much I'm at a loss here.
I just don't. Okay, here's what you might be looking for. I don't get how your solution to like constitution and politics, I don't get how that stops what I'm talking about.
You talking about if everybody was to become educated?
No,
Well,
I'm
because-
saying when you're talking about getting like a DeSantis or a Trump and getting back to family values, which I agree with.
Well, because
I don't
that's a
get
step
how it
in the right
stops.
direction. It's a
I
step in the
don't
right
get.
direction.
I just don't get how it counters the Federal Reserve shit that is rolling faster than anybody realizes. Like
Because-
that's why they're trying to zip it up and get it done.
Well, because first of all, this is already like on a fast track towards a a second bankruptcy, right? Or
Yeah,
whatever
you're watching
you
it
want to call
happen. We're
A
all
second
going to
Great
be.
Depression.
They're trying to push you all to big banks because the
This
the
is what I'm
smaller
trying to
banks are
say
about
to
to either go
everybody
bankrupt
who
or be
cannot
bought out.
who cannot understand what, like, realistically. Okay, I understand. I probably know more about what you're talking about than you do. I know more than, yes, of course, right. So everybody, yes, I agree with all of you. So now that we have that, let's operate back within the bounds of reality. And what is going to stop imminent destruction? Right?
What do you
How
mean?
we-
What's going
so-
to? You mean
so-
like World War III?
So from 1875 to 2023, the country has been a completely different country. Okay. Increasingly more and more of an oligarchy until now we're pretty much a straight up oligarchy. Okay. It's not going to get unfucked overnight, but the path is still there. So going towards conservative values and supporting and putting your energy towards conservative values as an option, being prepared for whatever may happen, of course, but at least actually taking a side, right? Instead of sitting there like a flaccid cock doing nothing. That is my point.
Are you
can sit
telling
there
me
as a
that I'm
flaccid
doing
penis
nothing?
and bitch about whatever you want. Okay, when you're not doing anything, just shut the fuck up. That's
No,
the
listen,
point.
I think you're enslaving me right now because I used to stop that dude in the middle of his rant and go, "Wait, are you talking directly to me?" And that's what I'm asking you right now.
Yes. Oh, I'm absolutely
Okay,
talking.
okay. So in your conservative nature, would you say you subscribe to some kind of biblical or King James type religion,
I'm spiritual, yes.
but not a Christian?
Well, I would consider myself a Christian.
Drop it. Drop it. Drop it. Fucking what are you eating? God damn it. You got the best
I would consider
fucking food
myself
in
a Christian. I like Mark Twain's quote the best when he says, if Jesus was alive today, the last thing he would be is a Christian. But I am.
my God, yes.
Oh, well, that's in the sense of, yeah, all these fucking
So
lipstick
if you want to
Christians.
say, do I agree with Christ's teachings and believe the Bible is the divinely inspired word of God? Yes, I do.
Okay, so
do I go to
I'm at-
church and do I thump the Bible at people? No, I do not.
No, here's my point that I'm getting at with it. Where I'm at is I didn't think I was that because I was raised in it and it was used to fucking abuse me, not out of morals, but to just do something that I was told. And I got away from it if it weren't for everything pointing at all these details of the future that none of us are going to stop that prophecy if it's going to happen.
Let me ask you this, though, right? So let me ask you this. Like, what I mean by conservative values is simply this. Do you believe that it's okay to mutilate children and allow them to change
Fuck
their
no.
gender? No, okay.
Fuck no.
Do you think that it's acceptable to have a bloviated hermaphrodite as our Secretary of Health?
No, I
Right.
don't dig that
No,
shit.
probably not, right? Do you think that we should have you think we should be sending billions of dollars to help that fucking cross-dressing queer in Ukraine? Is that
I think everything you're talking about is the slow, dismal tide to add up to something resembling Revelation's prophecy, if that's the fucking true legit shit, whether modified by Illuminati or not. What I'm trying to tell you,
What's
I
with
do.
your name, by the way? Curiosity strikes me at the moment. What is this Illumitami? What the fuck? What is
Well, I tell people all the time, I don't even remember the origin of why I had made it my name at the time. It might have been like a Yahoo Finance board troll or something. But by the time I had it here on YouTube, it was so psychotically took in. Like people put so much weight on it that I leaned into it and like based this whole troll war against Paul Enslaved that I've been in. I leaned into the Illumitami and the masks that got them so triggered when I showed up. And really, that's about it. I mean, I have a background in West Virginia where we came across some secret society shit when my ex's sister bought a historic mansion. We found like remnants of a secret man club there. And I've always looked into shit like that. But as far as this YouTube name, just for the lulz. Because really my ultimate thing is I'm doing my walk with the highest and how it judges me. And I'll do what I can. Hey, this way.
Bro, I gotta be honest with you. I have no fucking idea what you're talking about right now.
I know, because it's the thing that no man can question me on, that I respect of yours, and that's what the government can cut my head off over, even if I still have that phone number of an account balance.
Holy shit, you just went like, what in the fuck are you talking about? Like,
I'm talking about like the things you see transpiring that you're asking me what I'm going to do about. I'm like, all I can do is be the best person I can. I've taken 2.5 working girls off the street. Like, you can change all the laws you want.
2.5? It took 2.5.
Well, you guys are the first assholes to actually catch it and ask about it. But yeah, that parking lot I could have showed you back there was a night I was in a standoff with my hand on my gun with a tinted car that cut me off into the parking lot that had been tailing me the whole night. And I stood my ground and it rolled away. But in hindsight, I think that third girl might have been bound in the trunk or the back seat, and maybe I was supposed to go in that car too. And I fucked that one up. But I mean, that's what doing poor man's Batman gets you, you know? Like, at least I tried. At least I wreck it. Like, over lockdowns, I found a hobby. And
dude,
Are these like common
Tommy,
occurrences?
Tommy.
Are these common occurrences around where you live? Like people being like kidnapped and shit and stuff like that? I mean, I'm just curious. I don't know.
Hey, Dad,
I only speculate.
I think he's just messing with us.
No, I'm not. That's why I won't sit
probably
here and
just
have you
messing
talk
with
a
us.
little backhanded, passive aggressive bullshit. Like, I don't need you to tell me I'm sitting around not doing anything.
Right.
Like, I
okay.
have.
Well, this is starting to get like you're starting to get.
Yeah,
like,
I don't want to waste the story on your channel either. But
okay, that's
what you're
fine.
saying
That's fine.
about
Look, you're starting to get aggressive, and I'm not going to have it. Right.
He's just messing around, dude. Leave him alone.
So.
Yeah, that dude
You
is.
can go.
That is
I was starting to get aggressive. I don't want to have that. Fuck that shit. You know.
That was a hell of a. When the fuck?
I mean, I was trying to. I mean, that was funny though. You say I rescued 2.5 girls, and I'm like, wait a second, which half? You know, I was like, was it?
Maybe she was a midget.
Was it split this way or this way? You know,
Maybe she was a dwarf or something, man.
I don't know, man.
Like 2.5. He doesn't count her as a whole person.
Right. Oh, don't say shit like that. We'll get tore apart. After all, I went to dwarf wrestling, and I'm exploiting little people.
Oh, dude, fuck the woke culture, dude. That's the dumbest shit that's happening in this country, man. It's so fucking stupid. I'm woke. I'm woke.
Here's something that was funny. I was on Ian's stream last night, right? And I knew that was going to be being restreamed. So I was watching over there, and they had like a zoom in on the chat. So I was having fun. They had a zoom in on Ian's chat. So while I was on there, I was having a blast putting shit that I knew would fucking trigger him off. And I hit the coup de grace. They were talking about that kid that came on, you know?
What, the Joshua kid or?
Yeah. They were talking about that on Ian's, right? Because that shit with Z and had the kid wearing a wig and
yeah, that's some weird shit.
It's some really twisted shit. But anyway, they were talking about that and on there. And so in the chat, I put, you know, I'm real sorry, but that kid is creepy as fuck to me. He looks like something out of a horror movie, because I knew they would focus on that comment, and they did, and they just
probably
had
jumped right
field
on that
day.
shit.
Oh, they did. And I don't care, and I stand by that. That kid is fucking creepy looking, man. I'm sorry, he just is.
Well, I mean, objectively, you know.
I mean, when I first saw it, it was like I thought it was like a ghost meme or something, or a, you know, like a fucking spooky shit from one of those, like The Ring or something, you know. And then it was
That's pretty
actually a
funny.
living person, and I was like, really? Oh my God, who is this? What is going on here? You know?
Yeah, that poor kid though, he's being manipulated by them guys. As you know.
Well, yeah, and I'm like going, you know, as sad as it is, but no, I'm sorry. You know, there's just, you know, come on. A lot of people just are real. I don't know. It's like Leanne and I were talking. There was some show she was watching, and I was sitting in there, and I took a hit off my bong. And in this show, these people, they had a baby, right? There's a little baby. And I don't know who cast this little kid, but that was like one of the ugliest babies I ever saw in my fucking life. And let's face it, there are ugly babies out there, but nobody ever goes, you know, hey, you want to see my baby? And the dude goes, oh, fuck, God, no, shit. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, has that ever happened? You know, and I'm sorry, man. The kid's creepy looking to me. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's, you know, I get it. I get where you're coming from. You know, a spade's a spade. I get it, right? It's everybody wants to hide from objective reality, right? That's entirely what the entire woke culture is about. I can't even say it like without fucking. It's like comes out funny in my mind. I hate that. Dude, it's such a stupid movement. The blue-haired motherfuckers. You got, like, for instance, you got white people getting more offended about shit than the people that are actually should be offended. They're just like, dude, chill out. It's not that serious. I've personally seen it. Like, you know, fucking, I've seen a woke person a black dude made a joke about black dudes, and a white person got offended.
I know. Ain't that some dumb shit?
Where the fuck does that happen? Right? Like, I don't even get it. Like, yeah. It's so tough.
But can you imagine that? I mean, how would that would be funny as shit, you know? Somebody goes, hey, Jake, want to see his picture of my kids? And he shows them to him and he goes, oh, fuck, dude, don't ever fucking show me that shit again, man. Wow. You know, what if that was somebody's reaction? That should be funny as hell, really.
I mean, it would be funny to a degree, unless you were the guy who had the kid, right? But you know, there's a degree of like etiquette and couth, you know, like just mutual respect where you just.
And I've been in that position because I've had people say, oh, here, look, you know, we want to see the baby. And we go in and look at the baby. And I'm sitting there thinking, what the fuck, man? You know, and the whole time I'm going, isn't that a cute little baby? You know, and then later, of course, in the car and looking at the wife going, oh, my God, man.
Well, it's like Michelle was watching fucking Dancing with the Stars. And there's like a transgender one on there that's dancing, right? And she's like, well, at least he's thoughtful, you know, because he's like, are you sure I feel weird because my junk's going to be all on your face and shit, right? And I'm like, what? Well, fuck that, dude. What do you mean? At least he's thoughtful. Like, why are we encouraging? That's not, no, like, well, you don't just encourage that. Like, at least he's thoughtful. That's like horrific, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is this going on in society? Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? You know what I mean? Like, dressing up as a lady, if that's your thing, you're free to do it. You know what I mean? And it preferably should be done behind closed doors, not on national television with people with like roaring applause. You know what I mean? Can you imagine being the other guy? Right? Can you imagine you got to lift them up like this and spin them around and shit, and it's just all up in the face? Oh, dude, like, what the fuck, man? That's what I mean about society. Like, when is enough enough? Like, what the fuck is? Seriously, like, they're teaching this shit to kids in school. Like, there's one thing Michelle showed me on Facebook. Said this mom got pissed off because the teacher refused to use the proper pronoun for their only son that they worked hard to have, and the teacher refuses to call the son a he. You know what I mean?
Right.
What do you Oh my God, dude. People have fucking lost their mind to even allow shit. I'll tell you one thing.
All right, I want to address something here right now. Something Rocky Shepherd keeps saying about, keep your African culture in Africa, that Africa has never contributed anything and all this other shit either. Okay, look. For all you people out there that want to say, oh, I'm proud to be white, or I'm proud to be black, or I'm proud to be, listen, you had not a fucking thing to do with it, so your pride is totally misplaced. The reality of it is, you could have been born anyone, and the reality of it is you were. Okay. So to hang your hat on the accomplishment of other people that have a light colored skin as you, the same colored skin as you, is as ridiculous as me hanging on to the accomplishments of somebody who did something heroic. I didn't do it. So how do I lay claim to it? Okay. So maybe some people in Europe did build some really cool shit back in the day, right? It wasn't you.
Well, I would like to take it a step further, actually, and just say that African, okay, so if you're talking about black people, the black people that are generally here, that have been here for generations, right? They're of African descent. They're not African. They're American. Okay. And American black culture is completely different than African black culture. 100%. Right.
It's culture. It has nothing to do with
it. Is that's what I was getting to. It is not the color of anybody's skin. It is the culture. Okay. Because I have personally watched where generally African, a black guy from Africa comes into say the, an urban area where there's a lot of American blacks or whatever you want to say about it. Right. They don't mix. They do not mix at all. They have completely different values and ideas. And so it has nothing to do with either of them being black at all. It's not their fucking skin. It's culture. Culture is the issue. It's just nothing to do with skin. You can be fucking purple. It has no bearing on who you are as a person.
Yep.
It's it's where you place your energy, what's your values, and what so it just happens to be a fact that, in this country that the hip hop culture generally promotes and encourages certain things that are detrimental to
their own culture. Yeah.
To their own culture.
Yes.
And, white people are not immune to it, heavy metal and emo rock.
And I'll tell you what, if you look closely, the guy making the most money off of all of that is some white guy wearing a little 6-pointed star around his fucking neck. I guarantee it.
Oh boy. There you go. There you go with that shit.
No, I mean, that's the reality of it too. So there it is. It's like they're exploiting themselves to exploit themselves.
Jerry Heller, did you ever see Straight Outta Compton? That was actually a good movie.
Yeah. It was. I did see it.
Yeah.
I did see it. It was good.
That was Jerry Heller was screwing him over in that movie. Remember? They got all pissed off at him. Yeah. But
see, that's the whole thing. And it's all like Tavistock Institute programs through their various studies and as to how to create and steer these various cultures. Because see, like you said, it's not about the skin color. I worked with a couple of dudes that were right from Africa.
The fuck is that guy talking about?
Nigeria.
Pushing buttons. Oh, I guess it's in his name, huh? Pushing button 62.
Yeah.
That's kind of,
so
shock value.
These guys they were from Nigeria, and I worked with them. Great guys who worked there, great cooking skills, great kitchen skills. They couldn't stand American blacks. He says, I don't know what happened to these people. He says, but I can't stand to be around them. And they'd come up with their shit, hey, brother. He says, I am not your brother. I am not your brother. You are nothing like me.
Oh, yeah, I've seen them. They don't, American black, because they don't hold the same kind of street code that, that the urban culture has. And so that's another source. Cause the African black guy would call the cops in a heartbeat, done. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's a big source of enmity. But again, it has nothing to do with culture. I bet you if I met a fucking...
They try to make it like that, you see? And and even within their own culture, let's take, for instance, in the deep hood, so to speak, or for lack of a better term. Let's suppose one of the kids, or the black kid, tries to speak proper English, wants to learn to read, wants to get ahead like that. The rest of his peers are ridiculing him for, what are you trying to act white?
Well, shit, we have that in pretty much every culture now.
Yeah. So
What
it's
you
like,
reading
wait
for?
a
Some
second.
kind of fact?
Yeah. You wait a second. This guy's trying to get ahead and better himself and, make himself a more viable, productive human being. And because he won't fall into your lazy form of speech and adhere to your cultural norms, so to speak, and you're gonna ridicule him for that. It's just like in the Idiocracy. What are you trying to read those words for, you fag?
Yeah, well, you go to like England, you go to like in the slums of England, and you've got pretty much white people doing that to each other.
Yeah.
So it's or anywhere really, it doesn't matter. It's just the culture. It's like the ignorant culture clashes with the more refined culture anywhere you go, and it has nothing to do with what color you are. It has to do with where you place your energy and attention.
I don't know. I wonder if people. If I've often wanted to ask an ignorant person, does it make you angry to be stupid? I mean, to not be able to do it. I've often wondered what it would be like to be stupid.
Well, again, that, like you just said about the color of the skin, is taking credit for something you had no hand on.
Right.
It's not it's you. You didn't make you smart.
No, I'm. That's what I'm wondering though. I mean, would it piss you off? I mean, if you were stupid, would you be smart enough to know that you were stupid?
Well, I've realized there's two types of stupid people. There's sweet stupid. There's sweet stupid people. They're so stupid they're sweet, right? They're just sweet to everybody because they don't know any better to be any worse. And then there's stupid people that are just smart enough to know that they're stupid and they're mean.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
They're just smart enough to know how stupid they are, and they're mean about it, especially if you're more intelligent than them. They don't like you.
I mean, it's just, that's just, I wondered that before because, I mean, I'm sure it would be quite frustrating. But, I mean, if you didn't know any different, how could it be frustrating?
But when it comes to
you're at your pinnacle, you're the smartest person you know personally, I mean, I don't know.
And this will come off as like very conceited, but in general, I don't usually like to judge intelligence because I can't take credit for being intelligent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want to come off that way. I just wonder sometimes, like what that would be like.
I like to come from a place of understanding, like it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'll help you figure it out, or we can figure it out. We don't have to figure it out, and we can just talk about something else. It doesn't matter, whatever the case may be. Because generally everybody has something to offer. Every single person on the planet has something to offer. There's something someone's good at. Everybody has something that they're exceptionally good at or passionate about that other people are not. And if they choose to devote themselves to it, they'll excel. And they have something to offer, just kind of like a variety pack of potato chips,
Oh yeah, man. Cause I've seen some real wisdom come out of people. There's some like, well, I'm not even going to bring that up because I was just like, I think that was more of an idiot savant type thing. My brother, he had this girl. Well, I think she was a girl. She was like one of the dumbest fucking people I ever met in my entire life.
Yeah.
And
you told me about that chick.
Then all of a sudden, like once in a while, she would say something extremely fucking articulate and intelligent, and then go right back to derp. And I was like, holy fucking shit. So she did that one day, and we were bringing groceries in, and I just dropped a box of toothpicks on the floor. I let them spill everywhere, and I said, how many? I just wanted to see if she could do it. She just looked at me kind of weird, but I was like, my brother, he about pissed himself laughing because he knew what I was doing.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, man. Well, I've got to get off here because I'm going to get up early, but thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. I'll probably catch the remainder of the stream. Audience, thanks for listening to the nonsense or sense or however you view it. Whatever the case may be.
He's all right for a little while, and then he starts to get, you can tell he keeps getting to where he wants to make everything personal.
Well, he
You
keeps
know,
he wants to express himself in the one area that he has some knowledge, and he wants to express himself in the one area that he has some knowledge, and it had nothing to do with what we were conversing upon at the time. So, I get it. You know a lot about crypto. Cool. That had nothing to do with what the hell we were talking about at the time. I mean, very little anyway of just not being forced into crypto, but I think that's why he wanted to guide it back to that, because
right, might be.
Yeah. So, but anyways, you guys have a great night. I'll catch you later.
All right, brother. Thanks for showing up. Love you. Talk to you later.
Later.
So let's see. I'm going to go back here and through the chat. That was Burn the Corporate Fiction. Since we didn't get around to it, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to his channel. If you're not a subscriber, go over there and give it a subscribe. Wow. One of these days, I really got to organize shit. Where the hell is his channel at? Dude, you better start putting something out. Your shit's if you're still out there, Ryan, put your shit in the chat. I was just looking for your channel and I can't find it. Wait, no. Oh no, you're way behind in the algorithm. You're gonna have to start putting out some videos, son. That's all there is to it. Oh, there he is. Hold on a second. I found him. Dun, 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 dun. Copy. Need to get him boosted up there in the algorithm, man. So if y'all could do that. He's got some pretty good information. If you liked what he had to say on here tonight, he's got a lot more on his channel and more to come. He's been a little bit busy recently, so I don't think he's put anything up in a couple of weeks, but he said he's going to put some more on there. Thanks. Some said that toothpicks gave me a good synchronicity for the evening. That's funny as shit. Yeah, I've seen some of you discussing some of the things in the Mandela effect. I've been looking into a lot of them. I want to probably get into those tomorrow night on our Tuesday night show. There's more I'm finding out all the time. I can't even halfway keep track of them. And it's really mind-blowing to me. That earlier thing with the village people, that one had me all screwed up. I don't know what to do. Yeah, Jackson 5, because I grew up with that ABC 1, 2, 3, and I remember when they were on different TV shows and shit, and I do not remember there being 6 of them, and I certainly don't remember a boy younger than Michael. He was the youngest one, as far as I knew. So I don't know, man. I don't know. So many different things, and what does it all mean? I'm going to check out this channel. I forgot the name of it because I'm a burnout. That Brian Staveley had up earlier, and check out some of the stuff he's got on there, because he's got it broke down. Like I've said before, I'm one of those people, I want to look for patterns, and this guy has certainly found some patterns, and they connect up to some that I've found too. So I want to give that a good look see over. Let's see what do we got up in here. I had a difficult time and had to look him up online to link his channel. Yeah, he was coming up there pretty good, and then he, like I said, he hasn't done anything in a couple of weeks, and what happens is that puts you behind in the algorithm. And see, that's why you want to like. Hang on, I'm going to put this up so y'all can do this. Just a second. Where's my? Oh, okay, Ryan. All right, just a second. Let's see. Yeah, this one right here. Okay. Hit that like button. My email's on here. Y'all can send me an email with any of the things. If you come up with any new Mandela effects, or even if they're not new, we can even just start up a little collection of them. As I said, I found the other day this one. This was, let me put this up. I won't play the whole song, but as I was coming home, there it is. As I was coming home, I had the XM radio playing, and this came on. Well, wait a second. Let me make sure it's right before I get it. Yeah, it's going to make me watch a commercial. All right, so skip ad. Let me do this, put this, and all right. So everybody knows this famous line from Snow White, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," which now is never taking place. It's "Magic Mirror on the Wall." So I had forgotten about this song, and I was listening to an old school R&B station on my XM radio. And as I'm just about home, this song came on, and I was like, "Oh my God, I forgot all about this." And there's another residue. Listen to the words to this.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, you said you had the answer to it all. You never told me I'd take a fall. Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Yeah. So I don't want to get a copyright thing or whatever, but there's that. You know, why wouldn't she just go ahead and, if she's making reference to it, you know, magic mirror on the wall? Nope. A wild pack of family dogs came to wild packs of family dogs. Modest Mouse. I'm not familiar. You listen to some I don't think I've heard of Modest Mouse, but I don't believe I've ever listened to any of them. But yeah, Diana Ross, I'll tell you a little thing about Diana Ross. I had a 45 of her when I was just a kid, and I thought she was one of the sexiest women in the world, man. I really did. I thought Diana Ross was one of the prettiest things in the world. I did. And I loved her voice. So that was pretty cool. The title of the song changes, but the lyrics stayed the same. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so that's a new one for me on that. So yeah, we're gonna cover a bunch of those tomorrow night on some more of these Mandela effects. I don't know if you've caught Brian Stavely had a good show here earlier today. If you're a rock fan, you can go back and watch the restream of that, I believe. Not sure if he said it's up on Rumble or not, but it was a pretty good show. We had a good time. And over on those other platforms, it was pretty good. We got to talk about some of the topics that YouTube will throw us the hell off of here for in the recent blitz of censorship that takes place here. So let's see. I think that's about all I've got. Oh, as for voting, did we vote for inalienable rights to be changed to unalienable rights in the Declaration of Independence? Did we vote for HIPAA to change to HIPAA? Well, no, let me tell you something, Drachmas. If voting actually did anything, okay, you would not be allowed to do it. Okay? And you should be pretty much everybody here, I think, is on board with that. It's a nice thought, but basically all it is gives them a consensus on which way to run their fucking plan. That's all it does. So who's this here? Oh, a friend of mine on here, Crypto. Yeah, I know. I saw that. I told him to look at the debt calculator, the dollar to gold ratio. I've never seen that at 0. That's insane. And then he laughed and said, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to." Hang on, I'll tell him I'm on a stream. There we go. So anyway, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please do me a favor and subscribe. Oh, that's another thing. Yes, I just passed the 500 subscriber mark. I'm sitting here pretty at 504 subscribers. Getting to be kind of a big deal here. But anyway, I'm at 504 subscribers. I finally hit my one little landmark, and I owe that to all of you that have come here, and a lot of you that have bonded and met with me on other panels and other streams and shit, I'm really having a seriously good time with a lot of you. Some of you I'm not having a good time with, but you know, cares, you know, not a problem. So I guess with that, I'm going to say once again, I'm Sovereign Soul and you're not. And we hope to see you tomorrow. I'm looking at about 9:30. I should be having a stream. And it's going to be along our regular venue of flat earth, conspiracy theory, Mandela effect, all the fun shit, all the crazy stuff that really kind of piques our interest. And this is what's fun, is because when we look at these things and I get 49 or 50 of you or whatever, 100 of you all looking at that same thing, and you hit me back with your ideas of what it could be or what may be behind it. It's great, man. It's great. This is like a large discussion of open-minded people. And I think that's one of the best things to go, one of the best things to do, you know? So that's, yeah, let's hop on the holy train. Well, yeah, I'll be careful. You got to know where the tracks end up at there, Talcott Express. I ain't real big on getting into vehicles that I don't control where they go. You know what I'm saying? It's just not my thing. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Emilio. So you go over there to Burn the Corporate Fiction. I'm going to put in the chat again. And definitely go over there and hit the subscribe button. Be sure and hit that bell notification so that you might be notified when one of us goes live or puts up a video. So with that being said, you know what we say, man. The Lord loves a working man. Don't trust Whitey. And man, for God's sake, stay away from the doctor. All right. Good night, everybody.